We wanna get it crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round here. Everybody round, everybody round here. Know we getting hype. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round here. Know we getting hype. Get money. Let's get money.
shot to death last night. Now you're lying in my bed. Must have been a dream last night, but I can hear what you're saying. You were shot to death last night. Where's my cup of coffee? I was dreaming something bad last night. Can't you hear what I'm saying? One gunshot, and I forgot to look at you, to look at you, to look at you, to look at you. Two gunshots, and my thoughts. We're not with you, we're not with you, we're not with you, we're not with you. You were shot to death last night, and I thought of someone else. Didn't care about your life last night, at least less than about his. All our dreams were shot to death last night. I see the clock stand still. Nightmares at your heart sometimes, but this is unbelievable. One gunshot, and I forgot to look at you, to look at you, to look at you, to look at you. Two gunshots, and my thoughts. We're not with you, we're not with you, we're not with you, we're not with you.
back again. We back again. Tell your mother, brother, sister, and your friends. We back again. We back again. I'm bouncing up before they count to 10. We back again. We back again. Tell your mother, brother, sister, and your friends. We back again. We back again. I'm bouncing up before they count to 10. We back again. We back again. Tell your mother, brother, sister, and your friends. We back again. We back again. I'm bouncing up before they count to 10. We back again. We back again. Tell your mother, brother, sister, and your friends.
So hard to see the light when the weight of the world is mine. But no, I will not resign. And I am biting my tongue. No, I ain't gonna run. This is the battle I choose, and I'm gonna win. I ain't gonna lose. Sticks and stones won't break my bones. As long as I am breathing, yeah, I will stand tall. Take me down, shut me out. You ain't never, ever gonna see me bow. I'll do anything to prove you wrong. As long as I am breathing, yeah, I still stand tall. See me stumble, see me fall. You ain't never, ever gonna see me crawl. You can try and shoot me with your dirty lies. You can try and cut me with your sharpened eyes. Like the dust and like the tide, still I rise. Ain't nobody who will ever bring me down. Ain't nobody who can take away my crown. Like the dust and like the tide, still I rise. I keep on banging my drum, 'cause the best is yet to come. So I keep holding on. I'll do anything to prove you wrong. As long as I am breathing, yeah, I still stand tall. See me stumble, see me fall. You ain't never, ever gonna see me crawl. You can try and shoot me with your dirty lies. You can try and cut me with
We are at the final day of the VCT Game Changers APAC Series Open 1, and after so many teams, so much action, could we have predicted what happened these past days? I mean, a former champion fallen, a nail-biting push to the finish, and a team without a blemish on the record just yet. Mikafabs here with Zahk back on the panel. How are you feeling about today, Zahk?
I mean, I'm super excited because for me, it's not only a team it's a team that's been like scrapping their way from the bottom up from last year, and they finally make it to the final. So of course it's me secretly rooting for Orangutan, but also like you mentioned, SMG, they've dethroned former champions on their path here. They've really they haven't even lost a map yet. I think that's a testament to how dominant they've been as a force so far. So I think it's gonna kind of come down to which team performs better today. But also SMG, they've just been like this behemoth that's looked unstoppable, and I'm really interested to see if Orangutan has a plan for that.
Exactly. We're going to have lots of time, by the way, to take a look back at these teams because they will be our focus for our grand finals today. Let's actually take a look back one more time for the roadmap at the yes of the year, because Zach, we have so many amazing teams here. And looking back, I believe we started this tournament with over 130 teams, I think. There was a lot of teams, and then eventually we came down to 8, and now we are down to 2. So let's take a look one more time at the roadmap for the rest of the year. We may be at the end of the first series open, but it's only just the start of a full year for Game Changers APAC. We've got Open 2 in June, Open 3 in July, followed by, of course, our last chance qualifier and eventually Elite, where it will all be decided who heads to Game Changers Champions. Zach, I think it's thrilling to think about, we could be watching that very team, our champions representative today, or maybe they've slipped by us. Who knows, right?
Who knows, exactly, because like you mentioned, looking at the format, top 6 from these 3 opens based on a point system, they will be qualifying for Elite. And then, of course, after that Stage 2 LCQ, 2 more teams, so top 8, they'll be playing in Stage 3 Elite. I believe that that's going to be where the action is, in the winner, or hopefully more than just one winner, as exemplified by our fantastic performance last year, will be taking us to that Global Game Changers Championship. And I'm sure that the entire region will be completely rooting for them, just like we banded behind Sapphire.
Of course, absolutely. Everybody here, and I believe, shout out, by the way, to all of our watch parties occurring right now. I believe we've got a bunch going on at the same time. We see you guys. And of course, our prize pool and our open format right here, as Zach mentioned, we do have points on the leaderboard per open, and the top 6 teams on the leaderboard will qualify for Elite. And we've had so many amazing teams, Zach. As we mentioned, we started with more than 100 teams. I think this is probably a record for Game Changers APAC. We had so many too close calls, and several teams that impressed us so much. I mean, looking back a bit at all of the teams so far, Zach, who do you think were the standouts for APAC Series Open 1?
I think that it's really hard for me to point out one particular stand-up, but looking at the teams that made it, I have to say 2 teams that I think have really good stories are going to be Global Esports Phoenix as well as Big Sight. Big Sight, to start off with, they've been around for a while, since 2021, but they've always kind of struggled, but it seems like this time was the furthest they've been able to come, and they really, being able to beat out Sapphire in that lower bracket and move on. They might have not made it to the finals this time, but I think that they definitely put up quite a show and have a great deal of potential to achieve. And the same with Global Esports. It's a new roster right out of the bat. Like you mentioned, out of 100 teams or so, they make it to this top 8, and they already make that top 6 before finally being eliminated. And it's only been a couple of months since they've been formed. So I'm really excited to see what the future has for both of these teams. But Mika, who are your picks?
Yeah, I just want to quickly point out, by the way, Goosebumps, by the way, it's only been a few months. We are only at the beginning, and there's a few more months until the next open. So I cannot wait to see all of these teams once again, including my favorite has to be Capybara Gang. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
I think they really gave that standout performance, and they were the team that really sort of ignited a fire and oh my god, these guys really want it, and these guys are so impressive, so I cannot wait to see them back. But once again, sort of a overall round of applause for all of these teams. They did so well for our very, very first open, and I think, as you mentioned, Zach, there's a few more months to go until the second, so I cannot wait to see in what form these teams are going to be by the time they get back to this stage, because as we saw, in the span of 5 days, a lot can happen. So much can happen. Actually, I think on my end, I was I wasn't present for the past 2 days, so too much I think happened on my end. I think, looking at our bracket over here, Sapphire's defeat was most definitely the biggest surprise. And look at Big Size and the run, though. This was so impressive.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I was super, even though they dropped down to the lower bracket right on that day one. They've definitely been able to put up a huge fight in that lower bracket. It's been very tough, but them being able to beat out Sapphire, like we mentioned, last year's champions, it just goes to show that no matter how many years you've been together, there's always a possibility of introducing that new blood, getting that new fire online, and just trying again next year. Big Side, they did a fantastic job. Same with Orangutan as well, because like we talked about, they've never made a grand final until this year. And this year, they've looked phenomenal. They lost to RRQ on day 2, I believe, but they were able to come back, get revenge on them in that lower bracket final, and finally move on to that grand final, which we're going to be seeing today between SMG and Orangutan. SMG, they've had a flawless run through that upper bracket, haven't even dropped a map yet, and yesterday they delivered what is arguably one of the most, if not the most humiliating defeat to Alter Ego's X roster, now under RRQ Kaguya. 2x13 4s 2-0. I've never seen them swept like that. I don't think anyone's ever seen them swept like that.
Absolutely not. And they're not a team that, we would expect to, like a score like that to pop up, right? But of course, today, only one final battle remains, and it is going to be between Team SMG and Orangutan. This is a best of 5. And after what we've seen from these teams the past days, you can bet we're going to get a hell of a matchup. Actually, as I mentioned, I wasn't around the past couple of days, so imagine when I head online and I check out what's happening, and I'm like, what? What on earth is happening? So what's going on? Zach, you have to fill me in here as we check out yesterday's highlights.
Basically, SMG, they point, they shoot, they hit, headshot, boom. Rinse and repeat.
And that's
but
it.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. I mean, it's been working for them so far, but I'm not giving them enough credit at this point. I'm just joking. They've been really fantastic. Every single player on this SMG roster has been stepping up huge, being able to pull out clutch after clutch. Like Shirazi, for example, pulled off a 1v3. This is a position that they had no business winning. On both of these maps, SMG just looks so dominant when it came to utility usage, map control, trades. Almost every single aspect of the game, they've just put in so much work. And it was clear as the game went through that their coordination, it's like hit new peaks. Just to give a little bit of a recap about SMG themselves, they've always kind of been in that top 4, top 5 scenario, but until they kind of revamped their roster this year, they struggled to make that grand final performance really work out. Now though, they've picked up the Bren core, they've rebuilt their team around Tara and Kohaibi, and with that mix of experience and synergy kicking in across multiple national borders, but also team borders, considering that they have like the players from 3 different rosters on their roster now, I think it's working out great.
Yeah, you mentioned like this, a miracle merger of sorts, just because like I remember interviewing Tara like a few last year, I believe, and I remember her feeling a little frustrated with like she feels like sometimes the teams that she's been partnered up with in the past, she doesn't have as they don't have as much confidence as she feels like she would want them to have. So I think that partnership with like a teammate like Alexi, for example, who has so much personality in game and out of the game, I think that like that was just like the push that and the chemistry that I think Tara has been waiting for such a long while, and it definitely shows. I mean, flawless record, guys. This team is undefeated so far, but I think after what happened yesterday, Orangutan, this is gonna be such a good matchup because they showed that even if their backs are like against the corner, they are willing to take it to this finish line. We have it right here in this best of 5, so it's gonna be so exciting, Zach.
Yeah, I think a lot will also depend on the map veto, but we have to talk about Orangutan because I think that when it comes to the most consistent improvement over like the course of months or even just this particular tournament, I think Orangutan, they've definitely been able to shine through so far. Like we talked about right off the bat, they dropped to that lower bracket because of Kaguya, but they were able to like really just bounce back and find revenge on them in that lower bracket. Like you mentioned, they're the teams that might have been down the most. Like we've seen them come back from a 1 to 11 kind of number to be able to come back and win it into overtime. So they definitely have the mental and fortitude for it. So at this point, I'm just excited to see how this matchup is going to shape up. But I think before we get into the map vetoes or any of the juicy details about today, we are going to be taking a short break. So stay tuned.
That's absolutely right. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with Team SMG and Orangutan.
Coming off the bench now. Waiting for this moment, swinging for the fence now. Coming off the bench now. Gotta
We wanna get it crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round here. Everybody round, everybody round here. Know we getting hype. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round,
Welcome back. You are watching VCT Game Changers APAC Series Open 1, and we are now at the grand finals. You are here with me, Mikafabs, and Zach here on the panel, and we are just about to dive into our matchup for today. Team SMG versus Orangutan. And Zach, as we were saying earlier, this team, Team SMG, is undefeated. It is a fact. Team SMG has not lost a map since 2022. This was last year. But this roster has not lost a map ever. Ever. It kind of makes me worried because I'm the kind of person who believes that luck runs out eventually. So Team SMG, I guess my positivity is kind of like relying on you. But how long, Zach, does this win streak, keep going? Certainly it can't stop today of all days, right?
I mean, if anyone's going to be putting a stop to it, it's probably going to be a team like Orangutan. But yeah, like that you touched upon that, Mika. They've had like an undefeated run throughout that upper bracket. They 2-0 Global Esports, 2-0 former champion Sapphire. They got Kaguya as well on their way. And now it's their last hurdle before they can claim that title of Open 1 winner. But it's going to be their opposite, diametric opposite, really, that they're going up against. Because Orangutan, they're that scrappy team. They like these comebacks. They like going down in the lower bracket and fighting it out. But, let's take a look at both of these rosters here. For SMG, we have Kohibi, Kamiyu, Shirazi, Tara, and Alexi. Now, to break it down here, Kohibi and Tara, Kohibi's been there since day one of the SMG roster's formation. She's been that kind of duelist, that firepower, that star that they've banded around towards. And I think Tara, she joined yesterday towards that LCQ time. She used to be on Alter Ego Celeste, kind of retired in the middle, but came back. And now she's been kind of whipping this roster into shape. With the kind of team roster shuffles and everything that happened after the end of last year's Game Changer seasons, we had Kamiyu, Shirazi, and Alexi join. Now, Alexi and Shirazi, they were part of the Bren Victor squad, I believe, and Kamiyu was, I think, Zol Meraki, I'm not sure, but either way, like these players from these different strong teams banding together in SMG, I think that's just a beautiful story. But, you could say the same for Orangutan, right, Mika?
Absolutely, and this squad, Casper, Japips, Capricious, Zinni, and Chloe, this team did not go through that matchup against RQ Kaguya yesterday only to stumble now, right? They are going to hit the ground running for that victory. As we saw yesterday, even when their backs are against the wall, Apes, together strong. They are not going to go down without the fight of their lives. We had to put it in there, right? I saw yesterday Blackenblue inserted that in there.
Oh, so yeah, no, I was watching too.
But yes, this squad, like as you mentioned, they're a little bit scrappier than say Team SMG. But I just love Zinni's interview yesterday, by the way, when Ray Rechu asked her, hey, how do you feel about the match against Team SMG? And she said, I'm just so excited because these guys, these teams are actually very, very close with each other. These guys know each other so well. And I think that, of course they're going to play their best, but they're just so excited to be, right in the action all together and just giving each other's, the best fight ever.
Yeah, I think that, like you mentioned, it's going to come down to whether the flawless and defeated team can keep their record or will the Apes overthrow that throne. I'm personally super excited for this because, Orangutan, I could say a lot about them, but I think that individually they've come a long way. The roster had seen a couple of shuffles as well. They had Zinni kind of step in on that IGO role this year, being able to kind of put a lot of work in. Also, Chloe and Casper, those mainstays from last year, Sway swept down. Zinni had to take her spot, a couple of new players, but I think every single one has been shining on their individual roster. What I think today will come down is going to be that map veto. And looking at what we have, it's going to be SMG picking Pearl to start off with. Now that's a warning shot if I ever saw one.
Definitely, and I'm so glad that we get to see Lotus. Just because, I mean, come on, both teams have made Lotus like their stomping grounds. Team SMG being like the first team to sort of pass their homework on this map here in this tournament. And Orangutan, after yesterday's match, I mean, come on, Lotus definitely has to be one of their strongest maps. And we also are going into Ascent and Haven and Splits. As for, you know, the fracture ban on the side of Team SMG, I guess so. I was a little surprised just because I feel like this is one of Team SMG's stronger maps, but I guess they didn't want to risk anything that might be a little bit, you know, too out there, perhaps. And Icebox for Orangutan as well. That's a ban. So with this, I'm not sure. I like that, you know, Lotus is right there, smack in the middle. This will probably give Team SMG a lot of momentum, Zach.
Oh yeah, I think that, you know, starting off on Pearl, it's kind of like I mentioned, it's a statement being made here because it is a map that they managed to pull off a 13-4 against Kaguya yesterday, one of the more dominant rosters that we've seen over the course of the years. But Orangutan, they've gone with what's like a comfortable pick for them. They managed to time and time again prove that they are a force to be reckoned with on Ascent. They pulled off that 13-7 yesterday against Kaguya, and historically it's a map that even when they're down, they're able to like kind of dig deep and bring it back and win in style. So I think that's like their home ground, so as to speak. The home ground of the Apes is Ascent. That's a line I never thought I'd be saying in my life and getting paid for, but here we are.
Where did you think the home ground of the Apes would be?
I don't know, some obscure planet with like lots more forests, because Ascent seems too modern with all the cafes, but hey, it's a new age, new ape, I get it. Orangutan, like I mentioned though, historically really good on both of these maps that they've selected, which is Ascent as well as Haven. They've been able to kind of make that comeback. They have really strong strats, and personally, one of my favorite things to watch in both of these is that Astra pick on Casper. You know, I love watching her play Astra. It's like such a sublime feeling. I think last year I saw her put out one of the fastest ults that we've ever seen, but right now we're going to be starting off on Pearl here, chosen by SMG. They're going to be starting off on attack as well. And I think yesterday somebody brought up the point that whenever a team starts on attack, they're super scary. And SMG, I think that definitely applies.
Oh yeah, that definitely applies. I am so excited to see here, you know, Japeeps had such a great performance yesterday. I'm excited to see this potential matchup between her and Iceberg. So that's gonna be one to watch out for as well as Napsky versus Chloe. I think this, you know, I think this is gonna be like another one, like somewhere in the backlines that we can potentially watch. And of course, we also have Capricious versus potentially Ayumi or Aluka. We've seen them like, you know, switching stuff around. So we're gonna see how they're gonna start this off, but I cannot wait for that duel to take place as we head into Pearl, our first map for this grand finals. So Daks and Blackenblue, the floor is yours.
Sure, the floor is ours, but the stage is set, ladies and gentlemen, for the ending of Open 1. Today, we will be crowning a new champion in the Game Changers APAC scene, and I cannot wait for it. But this best of 5, of course, gonna look to go the distance between Team SMG as well as Orangutan. We're gonna be your casters. My name is Daks here with Blackenblue, and come on, man, already I'm so excited for this first map. We start on Pearl, and as you can see, Team SMG, they bring back the double controller.
Well, how can't you be excited, Dax? We're starting on a best of 5 here for the grand final, rather ending on it, and we're gonna have a new crown at the end of the day. We got the undefeated, almost undisputed, looking at it at Team SMG in the upper bracket. Nobody able to take them down, nobody even able to take a map away from them here in the playoffs. And then you got the Usurpers, Orangutan, a team that lots of people had expectations for, but for them to get here to the podium finish, to the second spot at the very least, into a grand final, that is huge for a team that really had a lot of struggles last year. Coming to this, they're looking prime.
I think that's the keyword right now here, Blackenblue. This is their grand final. This is the first time we are gonna see Orangutan vie for that crown. What a run through the lower bracket. What a game, especially yesterday against RQ Kaguya, making sure that neither of the usual champions that we had from the Opens last year's would even have a chance now. But Team SMG, the problem when you face off against them, it feels like there's just that suffocation, that there is just no chance whatsoever because they've had that perfect run. Orangutan, though, have been so scrappy so far, and if anyone can take a map or even a series away from SMG, it might be them.
Yeah, it has to be a fiery gun like Orangutan are and can be many times on over versus his Team SMG squad. We're starting on the attack this time around. Orangutan putting their focus into creating mid-control early.
Yeah, and SMG, again, we can talk about what the controller composition they're running. This is what they use against Sapphire. It's not the Raze, Reyna, Chamber, hard hit shenanigans. And it's all about that modicum control that we like to see from the likes of Tara and Shirazi. It's more about the restraint right now from SMG rather than their usual antics. Flash comes in, Kohibi looking to clear.
I mean, I love to see it, right? They need that just bit more utility to try and throw out here, especially against a team like SMG. But the plant goes unguarded, unwavered, and Kohibi gets the opening pick here. Daks, Alexi, and everything going SMG's way to start off this map completely without a fuss.
Every single direction, it just leads to SMG's victory. From the connector side to the spawn itself, SMG had the handle of it. And this is where Orangutan needs to already understand what the game plan of SMG will look like. They're going to throw out utility, sure, but with Shirazi on that lurk especially, that's someone to watch out for. She was incredible yesterday against Araki Kageo, one of the best performances we've seen for her all throughout her career. And if that's the form SMG is going to bring now, then this is a grand finals worth watching out for them.
Of course, I mean, you look at a team here like Team SMG, and to start things off, as you said, like that is a statement. That's exactly how they have to set the tone here, especially against a usurper potentially on Orangutan. Team SMG looked like one of those favorites coming in from the Swiss stage. And with an opening round like that, it could be the case.
How many maps is it in a row? 6 times 2, 12. Then you add 18. You add 6 rather, make it 18 maps overall over the past few weeks of action. Capricious, though, good start. Has been absolutely a gem here from the side of Orangutan. But Kohibi fights back. Firepower here for SMG. They cross over from mid to B. The lurk yet again from Shirazi. Secured that site from afar. And SMG just systematically moving away from the Orangutan forces.
Well, Orangutan, we know that they have been one of the most consistent teams in converting these type of thrifty rounds. Maybe some damage could be done here. Capricious, still the sheriff in hand. It's B-Link, the only place, the only avenue of attack they've got really for this retake.
Yeah, they're gonna funnel in, that's for sure. Kohibi, though, prepared yet again for those takedowns. Capricious, Casper, they could lead that charge. Pips also a bit of utility to try and help out in the pinch. Now with Crossfire set, SMG, they're at the ready, waiting for their guests to arrive. Kamiyu gets them all even in the end. That Nightfall will be online sooner rather than later here, Blackenblue, and it's 2-0 for SMG.
And if they can get that online here in their bonus, that can be a great tool to try and equalize out the odds. You hit him with that decay, you hit him with, obviously, the deafen, to make things a lot more palatable in this case with the SMGs to run on over and run through the defense. And we know Orangutan, a lot of times on their defensive side, they like to keep that bleeding minimal. They want to really just be able to set the pace on the attacking side, but when they start on the defense, this is a lot of times where they struggle. They do have the benefit of closing out, though, in the second half, possibly.
And with how SMG has started this game off, it has been very convincing from the attacking side so far. One thing we noticed yesterday also from Orangutan, especially in lesser buys, especially in thrifty states, they can get those frags and make sure that the macro side of things won't really get out of control. SMG, though, already the plan to split up towards that A site yet again. Link now covered here by Chloe. Turret confirmation, and Kohibi, busy with the pain shells, gets taken on down. The Seize is there, though. Orangutan, they might be in a bit of a pickle here, but SMG slowly crawling. Orangutan given time to get those takedowns instead. It's 4v2. Tara and Kamiyu, they're stuck here towards Link. Casper's awaiting, but she's gonna get taken down here.
Well, Tara still gets a kill, but it was a bit late on that main push. When they do kind of go around that art angle, when they pass the precipice of it, the A main should be ready as well, their A main hit. And because it wasn't, they weren't able to get the trade immediately.
And there we have it now. Zinni getting ready with the flash of her own. Kamiyu fighting back, but she's gonna get taken down over onto the corner. Jabips also with the find on Tara. And while Orangutan has sniffed out the opposition, you mentioned it, that timing from SMG just a little too late to play with the Seize and the pain shells lobbed from Art.
Yeah, that almost definitely would have been, you know, them possibly, for good measure, overrunning that Art position, but it just never came to pass. So Team SMGs drop the SMGs. Funny. Going over now to the actual rifle round, and well, there's a bit of time to talk here, Daks.
Yeah.
Kamiyu, we talked about that Nightfall being a big thing, right? But I think the real big thing to look out for is how does Kohaibi perform now that she's on the Rays? We've seen that in the past, yes, but we've also seen different variations of this roster here on Team SMG composition-wise, and we did see them kind of struggle against Sapphire during that Pearl map that we saw in the upper semifinals. It was Sapphire, to be fair, but they swapped on over to a different composition, and arguably it worked better against RQ Kaguya when they had the chamber comp and dropped the double controller.
Well, time to drop down for Tara, and it's immediately trade for trades towards B ramp itself. SMG, they go for the firefight, make it a 3v3. As Kohaibi herself does pick up the orb to try and build up the showstopper. It's that difference right now here for SMG. You talked about the chamber comp, you have the double duelist, so you know Kohaibi and Alexi, if I remember correctly, would just basically run in and get those takedowns. Now, you have to wait for that utility, and when there's so much more pressure on Kohaibi on the side of SMG, it's all about that synchronicity. That was one of their problems from before, but right now the problem is the peak from Orangutan. Shirazi though, the show is on! And at the end, the taps do come, and SMG will take the win.
Well, we talked about controllers, and there Shirazi comes on in, absolutely huge in the end to help him on out and get the round. It was very dangerous there, though, on the push from Team SMG. And we like to talk about this double controller a lot, and it's been something that I think would have benefited a lot of teams out in the past. And the reason why I brought up Kohaibi in the first place is because when we did see, you know, Alexi kind of swap on over to something a bit more aggressive, when we did see that Reina come on out from her, we saw her being the person to really take value from that space that Kohaibi's able to make. And now the question is, who does that? Is it still her? And can they do it as effectively as they did against RRQ?
Well, to be fair, they did it against Sapphire, but I get your concerns because there were a few rounds where Sapphire was just able to outmaneuver them and reposition yet again. We'll see now if SMG can sync up with the tip of the spear. And Kohaibi, yet again, looking to lead the charge. No one home, though, for that B site. It's the rotation yet again from Orangutan, playing for mid and looking to catch out members like Shirazi instead.
Yeah, they had that flank catch here on the Shirazi. Should maybe find two and keep them and halt them so they don't get overrun on the flank. Then could be good value to be found here, especially if they don't check her. I think he's going to be in a very dangerous spot, and she does get caught out, Daks.
Yeah, spotted up, and that's a rifle here for the side of Japips. Now then, turret to try and get a bit of intel towards the main angle. Nightfall, though, is the call, and SMG looking to just be concrete in their wall formation. 3 already down for the side of Orangutan, trying to use that high ground to their advantage, but the gun disparity is clear. The range is there, though, for Japips, and she's trying to try and fight back, but she runs out of help in the end. SMG, sure, they lost their backline there early on, but they found the footing to hold it down anyway.
Yeah, they get the round anyways. That's the important thing in this part. But Orangutan, this is where we typically do see they struggle. They really rely on that op, which finally does come out from Capricious as they're eventually able to build up the economy for it. And an early timeout here called by Orangutan. But yeah, a lot of their defensive setups anchor around having Capricious get an early pick off with this op and then fall on back, try and play that advantage. But we've even seen that advantage get thrown to the wayside sometimes. So against a team like SMG, they have to get absolute value out of this, because we see a lot of times that when it comes down to the retake, if they do have Capricious on that op, they lose a bit of that re-hit potential on the retake.
And not only that, Orangutan, they love to make space and use the space through those op picks or whatever Capricious is able to give to her roster. So SMG, yet again, it's still that matter of syncing up here, even though they're in the lead, because we notice one more time that Orangutan is still able to do some good economical damage. SMG, they were trying to build a big bank a while ago. They still have enough for the buys right now, yes, but even if they lose one round, it might be more perilous than what they expected in terms of what we have so far.
Yeah, gonna be a very mixed buy if they lose this round. So 4-1, yes, but ultimately enough, those rounds were a lot closer than the scoreline might suggest, and that is a big thing moving forward, right? Especially on this defensive side, you're gonna need to hone in on that as early aim and contact to be made here.
At arm's reach, that's pretty much the call in Capricious. Just a hair's length away, tries to go for the takedown, but the Prowler primed at the right time. They burned the tailwind now. Kohaibi, though, looking for opportunity with the pain shells. There's the smoke, and now the showstopper will fly. Casper, though, towards that side, and Kohaibi will get that takedown. Camu on the board, too. SMG clearing out the side, moving towards Secret, but Chloe's got your back. Chloe's still there to stabilize. Chloe trying to get another one, but though Camu is there to find the refrag on. And then the 4v2, the retake with the op top difficult. And even worse, Shirazi's right behind you, Capricious. Don't look, don't scream. Silence yet again, courtesy of SMG. Zinni's the only one left.
Yeah, but she's down low. 1v3, difficult scenario. Blinded and taken down by Alexi, the opposing KO. Shut down in every sense of the word here, Orangutan. And small mistakes have big consequences. Where was the help there? Japeeps needed to be the one to shoot out that haunt, rather that prowler that came towards Capricious, but it just never came in time. And because of that, the op wasn't able to find that early pick value they wanted.
And we've seen so much lurks from controller players all throughout the Open 1 circuit. But we have noticed Shirazi has to be one of the fastest to rotate like that, to actually get at the heart of the opposition. And that's one more angle SMG is trying to exploit. We go yet again to Orangutan on a lesser buy, on an eco state. You have a Hero Spectre, sure, but maybe the Blades from Capricious can get something done with.
Well, we see her be quite a prominent piece of fragging for this Orangutan side when she does have that Blades on her. The Tailwind has been burned. Kind of gambling on the same main take, but it's mid that SMG want to focus on.
SMG, they notice perhaps we can just make these link calls work. They've noticed also that they have so many tools to actually just keep the pressure towards connector as well as the backside. Orangutan, though, the forces now congregating towards the side. Paint shells and the C's yet again. Something SMG has been relying on to do some early damage, and you can see how meticulous they are here, Blackenblue, making sure that everything is cleared as much as possible.
I mean, they have to be. They know that they can really rat these positions out here. Orangutan, as Shirazi finds the opening pick that they needed. Ivy shuts down Capricious. And that is such a painful player to lose in this case when you are in an eco. But Chloe gets a double. Okay, answering back. Casper, not too friendly, but ultimately still goes down. It's Team SMG. They get the equalized half at the very least.
And there you go, SMG. They're gonna take another one still, despite all their caution. Orangutan finds wonders in terms of their position. Chloe has been so clutch throughout their run here for Orangutan. Gave them a sparkle, gave them a little bit of hope. But in the end, it's still SMG who kept very safe. Frenzy in hand from Casper. Unfortunately, just didn't have the economy to have the firepower in the first place. But there's still glimpses of hope here for Orangutan. There's still a way to keep this scoreboard from rolling out of control.
Well, it's an early B main push initially. It seems to be actually a crawl, if anything. And the op is ready for it. You know, last time these two teams played, Pearl, it was both against RQ. And Team SMG was the one to win that. Orangutan lost 10-13. So who knows? Maybe transitive property will continue here.
Dude,
Capricious. He's got this locked down.
This is why I wonder, how do you do simple math in real life? The transitive property of teams by Blackenblue. It's a thesis statement that he's always decided to go for. But now Kohabi will fly on high and get the takedown. Yet again, we see this heaven take from SMG. Committed with the Nightfall 2. Kohabi gets to. Fragment now thrown Zinni on the disengage, but this will already flush out Orangutan from the site. The utility of the raise into all that momentum. Kohabi taking points.
And isn't that the big thing here that Team SMG have been able to throw against Orangutan? Momentum. Who are such a momentum-heavy team here, Orangutan. They love to really overrun a lot of, the opposing side, but when they can't do that on the defense, their anchors just don't hold up many times on over to a team as well prepared as Team SMG. The retake comes on in, Zinni gets a pick.
A big detain right now. Zinni on cleanup duty finds 3 all throughout, and it's all left to Tara in a 1v2 spot. Perhaps a little too ambitious here from the side of SMG, but they have another plan. Gravity well for the stall. Zinni's on the other side, timing everything, and it will be Tara caught on out by Casper. Orangutan, they will make the retake work.
What a retake here from Orangutan. That lockdown just bought them the round, really. Without that, it would have been so dire, so dangerous to make it happen. But that's when you need those lockdowns, those ultimates to come in big when they're in very, big, desperate moments. And the disparity, it couldn't be even better in that case for Orangutan after those kills.
Yeah, a little too, I'd say, eager from the side of SMG. Didn't really back on that. Didn't force the issue towards Link. They just kind of stood there and waited for Orangutan to peek on by. Well, as of now, though, they still have that lead anyway. Could have actually clutched it out there for Tara, but Orangutan, you can see that they know how to hold back their Blackenblue. They realize we had that Link position, we can keep our lockdown safe, and that's why they won that round.
I mean, I'd wager that's part of the reason why Team SMG stayed there, because they thought Orangutan would go for the peak, but Alexi still gets a double here! Capricious and Japeeps, they both go down, and that drops the up.
Well, now what they thought did happen. What they foresaw has been seen, and even more so spotted out by Shirazi. Casper goes down. SMG yet again getting the right reads along the way. And Orangutan, they're crippled right now. Chloe and Zinni over by the spawn area. Might just be a safe call by this point. They have no position whatsoever to try and retake this.
Yeah, they don't have the economy to support losing these rifles as well. So if I were them, just back on off. Save this 2v5. There's no real chance in all actuality of making a round like this happen. Maybe they can get a pick, but that's all you can really hope for in this moment.
Yeah, you can already see Chloe's just watching the rear as much as possible, trying to see if anyone wants to get the exits going. And speaking of, Alexi and Kohaibi already, you can see the tandem in hand. Flank works out for Alexi. Zinni will make the trade happen, but SMG eventually hunt down the remaining members of Orangutan and make it 7-2.
Don't even let them take some pocket change home. Orangutan struggling here, not just on the raid stacks, but even just winning some of the duels. They don't seem to be activated the same way. Maybe it's a different time for them, early up, who knows, whatever it might be. But Orangutan, they have to start to wake up, and when a team, when a player like Capricious on a team like Orangutan could rely a lot on that fragging, capability to just pop off, and it doesn't come online, they struggle to get anything more, I guess, diverse going.
Yeah, and that's something we were talking about yesterday, how the back-to-back effectively warmed them up for RQ Kaguya this time around. Early afternoon, perhaps for Orangutan, not playing at the same cylinder, not playing at the same speed, and right now, there you go, quickly done by Shirazi. Gets the takedown, and she backs on away, especially. She knows that there's even more pressure there, courtesy of Orangutan, as SMG already cleared out that A site, and well done yet again, knowing to pick them battles.
4v5. Not much here to work with Orangutan once more. It's been a similar look many times around this game so far for Team SMG, where they just have such a heavy advantage on this plant. I mean, Casper isn't even let into the site. They're not even letting them come out of the yard. And this round, Chloe can do some damage, but ultimately it's done once more. Japeeps has to hold on to the ult and just maybe get a pick off.
Yeah, nice shots. Yeah, we've seen those share shots happen before, but can't get them all there at the very end. SMG make it 8-2, and you can feel how claustrophobic this is getting for Orangutan. They went for that mid push, but they realized there's so much pressure from SMG all throughout the map. We only have one angle to come from, and SMG read that.
Yeah, they love to give them many different options a lot of times, and Orangutan, as great as they may come, they're not one of the teams who have shown to have many diverse options. As we were talking about them a while ago, I mean yesterday, right? They're not necessarily a master of, or at least a jack of all trades. They're a master of one, and it's the hard hit. And when that doesn't come into effect, especially against a team like SMG, who have so much more tools to play here, so much more plays to throw out, how does that work?
Yeah, well, if you're gonna strong arm the approach, perhaps you can add a little bit of enhancement alongside it. There you go, Chloe. Nice setup towards the doorway. This burns down Kohaibi, and this is actually an interesting look here for SMG. They don't have the raise right now to play the entry. They're gonna bank on Tara on the lurk instead, leading that charge with the spike even.
Yeah, how do they work this out, right? As you said, without that entry potential. Camu here on the lurk, as the contact was made towards B. They get the Cosmic Divide down as well with the Viper's Pit for the plant attempt, and Shirazi, that's a huge pick she finds. That will allow them to get the spike down.
Ambitious endeavor there from Chloe. Didn't pan out the Viper's Pit, of course, giving the advantage towards Shirazi. And you can see the timing there from SMG too. They pulled attention towards mid thanks to Camu, but Japips finds Alexi now to begin with on the retake. Nightfall gonna be the call. We also hear the null command to play here from the side of Orangutan. SMG, they have to fight for their lives towards the hallways itself, and Tara swings it to get the takedown onto one. Still though, the pit is the play. Capricious finding Camu. It's gonna be all up to the Shirazi now, but she's caught outside by Zinni. Eventually, Orangutan, they will get the round, and those are where they look impressive, when they can find those duels and find those angles to get those takedowns.
Well, they were able to take the fight that they wanted to in that case. You saw Tara kind of swinging out a bit earlier, I would wager, in that case, than you would normally want. You want the defensive rotation, the defensive retake rather, to push you there towards that back hall if it ever does come to the fight, and then that's when you can be forced into it. But realistically, you can see that Orangutan, they're kind of worried about that back haul, weren't sure if they should progress into the pit or take that back haul option immediately, but then Tara gave them the option to take the fight, and because of that, they were able to focus their strengths into one position.
Yeah, and Orangutan, when they commit, right, it just seems like they are so well oiled. They are so well coordinated. They need more moments like that, though, if they want the bridges gap. And they do gamble to play towards that A side instead. The retake is the possibility. My concern, though, here for Orangutan is they're playing the up and they have no ultimates for it.
Yeah, as we talked about, right, they have struggled on those retakes when they have the operator in their hands, as is natural, as is typical of really any team. It's just a normal symptom of what you bring into the table. In the plant, it goes unswayed.
Yeah, while they have Link, there's no lockdown. This is gonna be a problem right now here for Orangutan, and even more so with Alexa getting taken out the Casper. Smoke's gone. Japips, though, nice trade at the very least. Still fighting here by records. Prowler gonna be into play, but the double swing is the plan here for side SNG. Kahai and Cammy working together. Eventually, it will be the 1-for-1 trade. 3 versus 3 right now. Here comes Orangutan yet again from the Link, but the high ground is perfect for Cammy. And come on, she is ready for all of you too. 9-3, Team SMG with quite the lead. We'll throw it back to the panel to see what's up.
Well, Zach, you called it. SMG on attack, on Pearl, a very, very strong statement that SMG, they just keep getting the right reads. They, leading to the numbers advantage, especially in their anticipation on Capricious. I mean, without the jet and securing at the very least a 4v5 before pushing gives them so much advantage when going for the plant. It's just so much easier for them to take up all that space.
Yeah, 2 points really come into a factor here. Number one, like we talked about SMG, they have a much higher win percentage on the attacking half, and they were able to really kind of showcase that dominance. And number two, the thing is, the amount of utility that SMG has with a double controller setup as well as their initiators, it's just too much for Orangutan to really try and fight for that site win. They try to go in for these retakes, but unless they have these ultimates available for it, or like you mentioned, that player advantage, it's just been super difficult for them to do. If you look at the rounds that they won one of them because they had the weapon advantage, and the other two because of the fact that they had a lockdown or the nightfall or the null command available. And I think that on attacking, they're definitely going to have a little bit of an easier job as long as they can find a way to have the same kind of aggression that they've been able to showcase before.
Yeah, and I feel like, for the side of Orangutan, it's just really, it's getting to them. You can feel it, and especially when SMG gets those first picks. I'm wondering, though, now that the sides are switching, what are you expecting for Orangutan to be able for them to, pull the score back in their favor?
I think that one of the huge factors is going to be Capricious. We just saw Kohaibi pop off, and Capricious, she has to be that kind of foil to Kohaibi, being able to get those entries and open up sight the way Kohaibi was doing. I think that is also going to be a lot of weight on the shoulders of the initiator to be able to set Capricious up for those fights. So I think that it's going to have to be an overall team effort. But Orangutan, the thing about these apes or this gang of apes is that they're able to really, if they're in a tight corner, they're able to kind of dig in deep and scrap back. This isn't their map pick. They're probably just trying to look to get through it and fight as much as they can on the way to Ascent. But I wouldn't be surprised if they made a comeback happen on this map, because they were 13-10. They lost very narrowly to Kaguya on this particular map, and I think that they definitely have a chance.
Yeah, and especially after yesterday, I'm not gonna count anybody out just yet. So let's get back into Pearl. Throw it on over to your casters.
Panel saying there's a chance, and truth be told, I do believe in it. But Orangutan, they need to make those chances happen from the get-go. They need that momentum to go back in their favor, and the pistol will be the perfect round for it. It's still a big gap though here, Blackenblue. 6 rounds between Orangutan and SMG.
I mean, the statistics do back them up at the very least here. Orangutan, 60% win rate on attack here on Pearl compared to the 48 when it comes to the defensive side. So much higher win percentage by Orangutan on their attacking side, especially on Pearl. And I think a big problem that we did see there is not necessarily the execution of ideas on the defensive side, but just the general ideas surrounding them. Seems like there was just the wrong attempt on wrong problems, or they proposed wrong solutions many times over.
It's complicated stuff, honestly, but sometimes also notice here for Orangutan, they just don't have the right tools to get the job done. Here we have it, Shirazi prepared immediately to catch one, to catch two. Already such a strong shot. Yet again, fear for the side of Shirazi. SMG again and again, the show goes on, and well, that's all, folks. Casper in a 1v4 scenario. Can she actually get something done here with the pistol? The ghost in hand yet again, looking pretty feisty. Here we have it now, suppresses the value, and the angle is even better from SMG, 10-3.
My goodness. This is looking disastrous for Orangutan, but sublime here really for Team SMG, who are looking so pristine in these moments, always so clean. And Shirazi has been such a reliable source of that potential and of that fragging capability. She's such a great anchor for this team, and you see in those moments when maybe other players might get overrun, might get overwhelmed, it doesn't happen to her. Can always be calm and collected.
Yeah, Shirazi has just been absolutely incredible. We talked about her day after day, all throughout the playoffs, and still the highest ACS for this week, especially Zinido already just a rush down here from the side of Orangutan, and they funnel in to the loving embrace of Kahaibi. SMG yet again getting the right read at the right time, good position towards the exit of Hard, and here comes another one towards the loving arms of Tara. Kahaibi with 3, make that 4, showstopper almost there, available into the next round, and it will be SMG now making it an 8-round gap.
Wow. SMG, I mean, it was their eco here for Orangutan, but ultimately enough, SMG are still looking so far above the competition, Daks. It's not just Orangutan, like throughout this tournament, they have looked almost practically flawless, and whatever small moments that they have of a lapse, it would always be recuperated and recovered.
That's such a fair point there, man. You think about who they beat to get to the grand finals. RQ Kaguya and Sapphire, the two teams that were the giants of last year. And in all honesty, that's why I feel like Orangutan might have a better chance here in the grand finals than any of those two teams mentioned before, because they haven't been beaten here by SMG as of yet. They are still that wild card. They are still that fighting factor from what we've noticed, especially in the lower bracket. But then you go back to your point, SMG has just been a cut above the rest, and the standard is so set right now by the defense. Alexi, though, through the screens. That's a big win and a big pick here for Orangutan, at least.
Orangutan, to find that early off, such a big player, and we know the leadership value she gives to a squad like this will certainly aid their case here to start their march onto a comeback, possibly, but still a long hill to climb. And while we've got some time, I was talking about how they would have just almost a wrong solution to the problem many times over a while ago in the first half, and we saw that in the last round of the half, where they would play retake on one side of the map entirely with an op, when you don't want that, because you need the op to rotate early, so you need that info on the other side of the map to tell the op to rotate in the first place. So those type of things, small mistakes, they have huge consequences, and they come many-fold for Orangutan.
Straightforward though for that A side, but Tara sharp with the Guardian. Shirazi too, same kind of thing, and Kohaibi's in there! Kohaibi's at the heart! Leads now to 1v1 situation. Battle of the clutchies. You got Casper on one side, you got Shirazi on the other. Both have been so reliable for their teams, but Casper prepared towards that main angle. Shirazi getting ready to get the advantage with the snake bite. The swing comes, but Casper braves through the poison anyway and gets the takedown. That took heart and that took guts. It will take Orangutan to the next round.
Great timing there by Casper, but look at how close it came, Daks. It almost went SMG's way once more with the SMGs in their hands. They take this fight towards the pit, but seemingly we're just unready for that push through the flower. You have to expect that at this point. They're on the bonus. They're on those SMGs. They want to press that pace and really wrap themselves through those smokes. And Orangutan, look at the buy coming into this. Half armor. A Spectre on Zinni.
They won the round, but at what cost, right? And how close was that? You had to rely on Casper to clutch it out while still hit by the Snake Mite. That's double damage, because the vulnerable state could have gone so bad for Orangutan, but she made it work. They still have to make whatever they have still in hand though work at the same time. As they're going for that B side, SMG though playing towards the back hole. Shirazi can get hit by the flash, but Capricious will go down after she gets her slide back. Shirazi's there yet again, finds 2 for her troubles. And the formation here from SMG is just so immaculate. Nice fight there from Casper to get another one, but that's all they get, and SMG's already on map points.
Dude, this is not much of a fuss at all for SMG. And look at the economy here for Orangutan. Maybe a rifle, but that's about it that they can pull up. And it's the Guardian of all things. Timeout called. And they're just playing this so well and outclassing Orangutan on both ends of the floor, attack and defend, that I don't even think the double controller matters in this case. If they pulled out the same comp that we saw last time where they had that where they had that chamber, where they had that Reyna, I would still kind of expect a similar result coming out of this, because they're just so on point on multiple fronts.
The way that they're hitting these shots are one, but the way that they're able to shrug off the utility plays of Orangutan is a whole different being. The fact that SMG has ways to stall out the timings there for Orangutan to make sure that they're given a chance to still fight back and hold those power positions, it throws the Orangutan plan in for a loop. You expect that back holes can get cleared by Capricious and her presence, but it's still not enough in terms of the timing. It's still not enough in terms of that coordination, and from that point on, Shirazi can take advantage. Those are really the crux moments that allows SMG to make these rounds so convincing.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to get a more convincing map in this series than this so far. And what a way to open up a statement opening round off the pistol in round 1. And if they end this here, that's going to be an even bigger statement of an opening map to get this game off. But Team SMG, for Go, trying to hold the B site for the meantime, looking to try and take A control.
Yeah, look to finish the fight early if ever they go towards an A main. Better call though from Orangutan, at least now here by B. They can set up well with that Cosmic Divide that Casper has been working hard to build. Already though, Shirazi towards that link area. We get the Cosmic Divide. The Viper's been to show something to watch out for here for SMG in the long run.
But you see how, in this case, when they stack one side of the map, they still have somebody maybe towards that link to find information and call the rotation a bit earlier so they can retake in time.
I do wonder if they are going to use those ultimates right here, right now. Capricious though playing by the wall. Here comes the showstopper. Gravity well to try and catch up back. Also Shirazi Alexi already with a takedown. SMG look to fumigate the side, and already it's execution on point and on the spot. This was another win for the SMG faithful. Another one on the streak, and it just continues on with perfection. 13-4, Pearl is theirs.
Well, it's usually other teams trying to keep Orangutan out, trying to keep the Horde out from overpouring, but in this case, the Dam Gates could not keep the flood of Team SMG, who simply overran the competition here. And once more, a statement of an opener here in the series of really the grand final, and SMG, they have never looked better.
They have looked to be the team to beat ever since we started the Open 1. And here at the very end of these days, it still is the same case. Orangutan, they have many chances though. This is a best of 5. This is a long run kind of shenanigan, kind of showdown. And we know we have their map up next. But before anything else, we'll throw it over to our panels to break down how SMG dominated there on Pearl.
Thank you very much, casters. And there you have it. Very clean and looking like SMG is just getting started. Since this is a best of 5, it looks like they are very much ready to see this through and beat it very quickly as well. Going into our post-map analysis as well, Zach, I mean, I think this has been the cleanest we've seen. It seems like SMG, they just keep getting better and better as the days go on.
Yeah, I mean, from day 1 to now, I've definitely seen like a incredible amount of improvement in both of these teams. But for SMG, I think the biggest change that they've made is just the patience for waiting for these retakes. Because before, you know, you always had a player or two going off half cock trying to make it happen themselves. Let's take a look at the scoreboard to see exactly who's going to be the MVP for today. For SMG, of course, no surprise, it is going to be their star-studded Fragger Kohaibi on that race. 317 ACS, 21.9. That's like a 3 KDA or like 2 point something. Sorry, I'm bad at math too, casters, so it's okay. But
we're all the same boat.
we're all the same.
But yeah, I was actually torn between, like, I was wondering if it's going to be Shirazi or Kohaibi because both were massive in this map. I mean, Shirazi, I was surprised at how many first kills she was able to get. And, very, very impressive as well. And I think, like, with Kohaibi and Shirazi, and the rest of Team SMG, actually, you can tell that, you have some players like Alexi, for example. I think she's just like, she's letting them go ahead and, like, pop off. And I have a feeling we're going to see Alexi pop off in the later map. So it's kind of like this rotation, this tag team. And that's the way they play as well, right? Mm-hmm. You love this tag team kind of energy from SMG. You rarely see one of them alone ever, unless it's like Lurk. Then there's a security of that as well, right? When you can rely on your team to trade you, it makes you braver overall.
Like, so many rounds when they're attacking half, you just saw Shirazi being a little rat. And I say this with all due love. She was an absolute rat, and it found so much rat. Impact time after. A good rat, yeah. But the rat you want on your team, not the one to play against. So, great work coming out of her. Firstly, I'm just super curious to see. I want to ask them these questions at the interview. Like, how does it feel to play against your old teammates? Because I think for both Shirazi and Alexi, it's that kind of feeling. Because Shirazi, Alexi, and Zinni were on that same team last year, and now they're on that opposite side. Same for Capricious and Kamyu as well, to be able to kind of split down that middle. That's insane. Let's take a look at a couple of the highlights from this map. Of course, you saw this. I think one of the things that we have talked about over the past few days, Mika, is the synergy between Alexi and Kohaibi. Just them being that duo to just frag out and pop off out of their minds together. It's insane.
Yeah, I like that also like switches around. Like now it was, I felt this kind of like, this back and forth between Kohaibi and Shirazi this time. So I do like that, you can't really tell, but there will be somebody on the side of SMG that you'll just really have to wait for that 1-2 punch that we call, right? And, this is really stemming overall from the leadership of Tara, this is just so incredible to see her, as definitely one of the most veteran names in the FPS scene. She has definitely blossomed into this wonderful IGL, and just look at her team now.
Absolutely stunning performance. I think that overall, while Orangutan had individual moments of brilliance, like we saw a couple of clutches coming out of Casper, each of their players was able to find some impact on their own. They just struggled to overall have that synergy, find the entries like Kohaibi was doing time and time again. Like you can see from the ACS and the damage per round, she was doing more than her fair share. She's always been that kind of a beast player, but I think that her having been on SMG for like the past 2 years, longer than that in fact, I think the biggest problem that she really had was having a team that could keep up with her. And now that she finally has those final pieces in place, it seems like she has a platform to shine on, as she's so aptly demonstrated today and over the course of the rest of this tournament.
And that's the beautiful thing about Team SMG, right? You can really feel the way they all make each other better. On the side of Orangutan, though, I do have like so many questions. Like, it definitely wasn't a good map for Capricious. There wasn't really a lot of a value in her role for this certain map. I'm so curious to see how they're gonna bounce back, because as we mentioned earlier, Orangutan, they are in it for up until the very, very end. You can always count on this team to bring out the very best. Even though the score might not be in their favor, they will scratch, claw, whatever it takes to get up there. And definitely for these players, it's going to be a long one. We're going to be right back with our second map in just a few, right after this quick break.
wanna get it crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round here. Everybody round, everybody round here. Know we getting hype. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round here. Know we getting hype. We wanna get it crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, crunk in the club, with a get it crunk with a couple hundred thugs. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round here. Everybody round, everybody round here. Know we getting hype. Everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round, everybody round here. Know we getting hype. Get money.
Let's get the
Get money.
let's get the
Get money. Get money.
Welcome back to VCT Game Changers APAC. We just saw map number 1 go over to Team SMG. They looked absolutely stellar on Pearl, and they take that map with ease. And now we head on over to map number 2, Ascent. Again, this is Mikafabs and Zahk here on the panel. And as we were discussing behind the scenes, Zahk, this could be Orangutan's best and potentially only chance because this is their map pick. Should SMG win Ascent, it will be so difficult for Orangutan given how well SMG perform on the maps that follow.
Definitely. I think that Ascent, it is one of Orangutan's strongest map. Even if they're behind, they've proven time and time again that they have the mental to really come back and be able to take it. And like you mentioned, in this best of 5, it's really important for them to be able to like kind of capitalize on their map picks. Pearl was a washout. It's over with. It's done with. We're going to be moving on. Lotus, they had a kind of close game against RRQ Kaguya yesterday, but against a team like SMG that has proven to be a powerhouse so far, they better have done a lot of anti-strutting and kind of counterplay coming into this particular one, because otherwise I think it's definitely going to be super rough for them. Haven as well, I genuinely think even though it's an Orangutan pip, it could go either way, and personally, I'll be super happy just to get to split, because the way SMG was playing on map number 1 so far, Orangutan, they have a tough fight on their hands.
Yeah, I'd be happy just to get to Haven as well. I mean, I feel like you're absolutely right on Lotus. Orangutan did give such a great fight. However, it was too close for comfort. And on the other side, SMG, when we did see their Lotus, it was definitive. So I feel like, you can't cut it too close, especially not against a team like this as we head into Ascent. We brought up earlier, just before we were about to close discussion on map number 1, how there were a lot of very, very, questionable things on the side of Orangutan. One of those was, unfortunately, the performance of Capricious. We did see her on the duelist role. That's going to come into a lot of importance here on Ascent, Zach.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Capricious on that Jet, I think over the course of this tournament, she's been looking a little bit shaky compared to last year when she was just dominating on both Jet and Chamber. I think maybe it's because it's the new team, bit of nerves. I can't really attribute what it is to, but Capricious, she's definitely going to have to show up huge. I think one of the other games that Orangutan had, though, before they really dropped to that lower bracket, it was kind of similar. Like, there was a map where she was really good, there was a map where she was a bit off. So I think for the rest of the series on Ascent, she's definitely going to have to show up huge. Once again, we're probably going to be seeing that Jet come in off of her, but I'm pretty excited to see what the rest of both Orangutan and SMG are picking, because so far, here's an interesting fun fact. Over the course of this entire tournament, I don't think either team has lost this map yet, so it's definitely looking to be super competitive. It's going to be the first time either of these teams are going to be losing on Ascent as we head into this particular one, Mika.
Ooh, that's a very, very interesting fact. As you can see here, nothing too out there. It seems to be very, very standard for both of these teams, but again, we are going to be seeing Kohibi on the Raze this time instead of the more popular Jet on Ascent. That's going to be interesting, but I think like with Kohibi, with what we've been seeing so far, Raze is becoming, well, very much a comfort trick for her. So I think this face-off between her and Capricious is again going to be a turning point for this map. As we head into Ascent, let's toss it on over to our casters, Daks and Blackenblue.
Wow, fixing your hair even there, my friend. But this is the best chance and the best look for Orangutan. Called you out there, but I'm going to quickly call out that, as I said, this is where Orangutan needs to get their map pick going. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dax here at Blackenblue, and we are moving on to Ascent. The panel broke it down. This is where Orangutan has made some of the biggest victories all throughout their Open 1 run, especially against the likes of RRQ Kaguya. Can they do it against Team SMG, who have changed up their composition from the Swiss stage, move on over to something a bit more standard? And as we get into the game, this is where it gets really, really exciting. Big shout-outs, though, to the viewing party there over the SG side. Really happy that there's so many people watching for these grand finals, watching out and having a good time here at Game Changers especially. But the question now here, Blackenblue, is can Orangutan get the job done?
Yeah, that's a great breakdown of the situation, right? Neither of these teams in this tournament has been able to, or rather has lost this map so far just yet. So where will it all break down? Will it be SMG? Will it be Orangutan? We see the Omen come out now this time here for SMG. We've typically seen Tara be a bit more of on that Astra when it comes to playing here on Ascent, but you try and pull out the more aggressive option. Swap on over from the Phoenix into the Raze, and that I think is going to be a very curious thing, how they bring this change up now in the grand finals.
Yeah, Mika touched up on it a little bit a while ago. If you have the Raids, it's going to be Kohibi. It's her signature pick from way before. Still something she runs to this day. It's something we notice on Pearl. But on the other hand, as we get a few pokes and prods here from the side of Orangutan, all eyes have to be on Capricious. They mentioned it also while ago on the panel. I believe Zahk said that she has to step up the way that we saw from yesterday. Shirazi, though, backs on out. And SMG know that it's going to be a B hit coming their way.
Well, typically we do see Shirazi on that chamber when it comes to Ascent, so she likes to take those early fights to be able to back on off after potentially finding a pick, or at least in this case, information. Contact made there towards B, sends that defense rotating, but you can see now that they're trying to be wary of another push towards the opposite side of the map.
And something Orangutan loves to do, especially Casper, play a bit of that lurk, using those smokes for cover. Just jingling around, a single pixel between her and Alexi might start off the firefights. Time though ticking, and Orangutan playing for mid instead here, just waiting for opportunity.
But will it present itself is a question. A window for sure, but one that might be a bit more close than it might initially seem. Capricious there, information that they do get off of Casper, and the push comes on in. Look at how low HP they already are on this execute. Ivy trying to chime in on the fight.
He's gonna be on site though, and Shirazi lights him up easily, finds 2 for her troubles. Alexi the save case, and the 3 who defended will be the ones who will stand tall there in the end. SMG, they win the round, and just because of a single dart, you could see the calls immediately from SMG what they needed to do.
And the alarm bot there giving away their intent to try and split that site, to try and go for the market. And much akin to what we saw in Pearl, the opening pistol round just ends abruptly and real quick for SMG's favor.
And SMG just has so many good angles between Shirazi and Alexi. They knew they had to play in committed positions, and they were able to still make wonders happen. Not only that, I also loved how we saw towards the CT side, avoiding the shock darts up close, playing inside the smoke. Mysteries made by SMG as we move now into the next round.
Well, let's see if they can dispel those mysteries for the meantime. Mid control, something always important here on a map like Ascent.
Calling my bot.
And we see Orangutan are one of those teams that actually don't always try and fight for that on many a map. They're one of those teams that like to hard hit towards the mains and then potentially have something later in the round to flank out after the post plant has been secured. But in this case, I'm not too sure if sticking that game plan, especially against a team like SNG who like to control so much more of the map, will work out.
I think that's the problem right now, predictability, because SMG, I mentioned a while ago, with that single dart towards main, it already exposed the attention and intention. It was still moving towards that B site. Orangutan though, I mean, they're on eco state anyway, so at the very least, I like that they're keeping SMG on their toes, keeping them guessing in terms of rotations, and maybe the timing here towards that B site. Only problem, there's an alarm bot that'll spot at Capricious if ever she crosses towards the speedway, especially. Time now running out here. Capricious breaks the utility. SMG knows that Orangutan's already here. Shirazi with the first takedown. The crossfire looking to be set. Sure, there's a smoke in the way, but Alexi gets the intel. And Orangutan double back. They will get the spike planted at the very least for a bit of money. But eventually, the hunting squad is here from SMG. Alexi's there. And well, that's going to be all for SMG again.
They overrun him right on the site. Much akin as well to what we saw a while ago in map number 1. Seems like they couldn't get the door closed. Maybe it was broken. I think you would know about that, Daks.
Yes, especially you too, my friend. Sometimes the key is there, but the lock itself just does not budge. And
Says
in
no.
the end, says no. And in the end, SMG do say no. 2-0 right now. And this is where we can discuss what we were talking about for the past 2 rounds. What else can Orangutan do? Because SMG seems like they've studied their opponent and they're getting the right reads yet again.
And they're one of the most cerebral teams at that, right? Arguably, one of the other teams that can be, you know, to that level as well. Accompanied with them would be either that Sapphire or RRQ squad, but with Orangutan, simply strong-arming them, going with a very direct approach to take down those teams who are also very cerebral and very experienced in their own right. They're going up against another team this time in Team SMG who also are as cerebral as the others, but this time arguably have just a bit more firepower to really stand toe-to-toe with the hot-handedness that Orangutan have a lot of times.
Yeah, and the reposition is just so potent from SMG. They're always at the right spot to get maximum value. Orangutan, they have to bring out all the stuff they've been working on for the past few days already. All the strongest cards, the best performance from every single one of this squad if they want to beat a team that has been building success like SMG. Now then, Garden held by Kohaibi. Orangutan playing towards the cubby and looking for opportunity with rifles in hand.
SMG's here for the defensive side, holding on to tree. And those are really great tools, really, to flush them on out. You have that raise, and it just sends that attacking side packing. The fake on the rotation here from Camu could be big. This is gonna let Orangutan believe more that their entry should be freer. They spot Camu out. She's in a dangerous spot.
Yeah, the shoulder spotted, and eventually all her movement goes to the wayside. Instead, now Taro with the paranoia trying to play off it as much as possible. Push on in from Zinni, and eventually Casper's gonna be there too. Orangutan, solid collapse now from the tree area towards the site. The coordination is what we're looking for here from Orangutan, and we're getting it in spades. Cards on the table. Orangutan already looking to have a full house in hand. Alexi, perhaps the only one here to be the ace in the hole. It was smoking the way. No real sightlines whatsoever. Stellar execution there from Orangutan.
A bit awkward timing on that push there on tree. Maybe if Tara was a bit closer towards the switch, would have been able to swing out in time and coordinate it as well with Camu off the pop flash, but Orangutan able to stop that for the meantime as of the moment. And we see, you know, many times around that as we get some time here as Alexi, okay, she gets a kill, ultimately will or should die to one of these players. The rounds that we did see won by Orangutan were not necessarily them doing something super well, but more SMG is getting punished for a small mishap. And if that's the style of Orangutan that they have to play this game, at least this series, it's going to be something we haven't really seen them be comfortable with in their matches coming and leading into this.
Well, in terms of comfort though, you can see for Orangutan, the style is still very akin to what they usually do here on Ascent. And if this is their comfort zone and they can exploit the mistakes that SMG do make, as you mentioned, then it's going to be a better chance for them. The formation is pretty clear. They get attention from one side, allow players like Casper to move in from main on the other. Keeping on with that momentum though, with that train of thought. Now they're looking to go for that A side. Big formation though made here by SMG on the defense.
But lots of utility as well placed by SMG. Deny this plant, or at least dissuade it for the meantime. They deny the immediate plant, buy them some time. Lockdown placed early here as a spike will get planted, so a retake with a bit of time to fall back.
They're challenging them, and can they get out in time? That's the question. Everyone has to go towards the wide side. I do believe Casper's gonna get stained, even one more so. Zinni too. So a chance here for SMG to go for the overrun. Capricious, she needs to play bodyguard and fast. Lurk potential from Chloe too, courtesy of the doorway. Camu going for the tap already. SMG gonna be onside, but no one's checking as of yet until Shirazi does. Chloe goes down. Here comes SMG to the vanguard yet again. Tip to the spear, looking to fierce. And Shirazi with 4, and the defuse comes the way of SMG too. They cleared it out, and they do it well, 3-1.
They just push the pace here and draw the line towards A main, smoke it off, and perfectly. They bait out the initial utility that would have been a problem on the defuse with that tap of the spike. You see here, Orangutan, they throw out their mollies, they throw out their nades, their shock darts to deny that initial tap. But then afterwards, Team SMG, they just know what to do. They're just so competent in these moments. They push that, allow them to have a bit more space to get that defuse going. And Orangutan, they can't spam the diffuser because, well, they're basically trying to fight the fight of hand.
And they used the utility already. They ran out of tools at the right time. Problem on Pearl, and the problem now is Alexi! 4! Out of nowhere from the corner, loves the shock darts to give her the ace. Why don't you? Casper denies it at the very least. With SMG, statement round. That's another one done.
I mean, it's an eco, right? Eco frags, but it still matters at the end to give you that confidence, to give you that ultimate more importantly, and to farm those orbs. Orangutan, they have quite a lot to work with here, at least coming to this. The null command, the lockdown, but as a timeout is called, you can see that they are grasping at straws as of the moment in the series.
You talk about Orangutan going for that strong arm approach, but Alexi just shows up her muscles there and takes down anyone coming her way. You mentioned it is a lesser by sure, but it's still impressive at how precise they are. This timeout right now for Orangutan has to be what they can do with the utility now, with the setup. Can they actually flush out what SMG's first positions are to get these sites? And then what will be the plan next? It's such a one-step, two-step kind of approach that Orangutan usually has a handle of, but not against what SMG's doing right now.
Well, it's hard to get the read on what Team SMG are doing because they have so many different defensive setups that they keep on throwing up for a loop on these rounds, and they don't just have one style. I think by far they were arguably one of the most diverse in terms of playstyle, aside from maybe a team like Sapphire. When it comes to this circuit, they give you different looks, and Orangutan, who we know have a very good
kind of game plan coming to this, but it's the mid rounds that we see a lot of times break down for Orangutan, but that just hasn't been true for Team SMG here.
The calls have been very sound. The stability behind Tara and her core basically has been the biggest tenet of SMG success. Orangutan though, we know there's heart, we know there's firepower, and we're looking now what they can do towards Link. With the paint shells, yet again, you talked about it, Blackenblue. Kohaibee getting value just by the stall allows even the nanoswarm for Firazi, and SMG putting so much pressure and presence towards main on the defense.
Well, when you have a player like Alexa in your team here for SMG, who was definitely a candidate, undoubtedly, of being a top 5 player last year in the circuit, that gives you just so much to work with in terms of, as an IGL, the calls, the leadership, and they just benefit so much of that. You see it come into these type of games, into the grand finals, into pretty much every series they play, that no matter what happens, SMG, they're always calm and composed.
And the composition now needs to stay stable on the A site. Null Command now gonna be the call. Orangutan trying to push on in. Alexi though, over onto the corner, and a huge pick, and another one here for Alexi. Magic made yet again from the same angle. Cameo finds the Pips rushing on in, and eventually the round is over. But how the hell do you have that kind of composure there, Blackenblue? A Null Command coming your way, you still pop the ult and pop the KO alongside it.
Well, she popped it kind of late there too, Zinni. It was more of a reaction to Alexi's Hunter's Fury, but it just didn't connect in time to, turn it off. By the time she popped it, the second shot of that ult was coming towards her way, and there just simply wasn't enough time to make it happen. Team SMG holding on, and their defensive start, impeccable.
This is just impressive to say the least, and this is the first time we're seeing this kind of configuration from SMG in this map. Lo and behold, a lossless streak rather, for good reason. 2-0s all around. With SMG playing at this caliber, Orangutan, this is their map, this is their moment, but they need to find what worked from yesterday. They need to get the strong executions, that confidence, and perhaps with a hero rifle here for Chloe, a few stingers along the way. Orangutan, they want to push at this, but the paint shells again, just suppressing what Orangutan's plans are.
And Orangutan, we see a lot of times, especially during that matchup yesterday versus RRQ in the lower bracket final, they love to overrun, they love to go for an early hard hit on towards site under attack. That is their plan A all the way to B, and sometimes even C. And so when that doesn't work out, when they get stalled and slowed down like this because of those paint shells, it's the difficulty to adapt for them that always, or at least rather lots of times, gets them down in these deficits.
And what makes it worse is after that, the Nano Swarm or anything else from the initiators. Dirty Precious burns the tailwind just to get away from the Boombot. And here we go again, the floor is lava. I remember we were talking about it yesterday or whatnot. Perhaps for RRQ Kage, if they played that Astra, they would have fared better against Orangutan. Well, apparently the answer is the Raze, and Tara now calls the rest of SMG that Orangutan's playing towards middle here, Black and Blue.
Yeah, that mid push trying to pull away the defense here, but they have so much utility still to hold on to this. The picks going SMG's way as Alexi and Cammy chime in on the fight. They're trying to press this market. Casper finds a huge kill that they needed. Chloe as well, trying to open up the site. It's a 2v3. They have a rifle retrieve. Casper is still on that, and with a frenzy gets one. Cammy takes her down. It's all of Casper.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be enough, unfortunately. Cammy with a 3K, and SMG will hold it down. Players like Casper and Chloe, always a threat if you can let them get up close. The frenzy kills there in the round. Opening up warning signs, but there was just no opening up towards the side. There was no path that was straightforward here for Orangutan. Just the way that SMG is stalling, the way that SMG is defending with utility and their positions, it is just absolutely asphyxiating right now.
As you said, there's a complete flowchart. The plan here, a checklist of utility to slow them down. You start off with the paint shells, you got the nano swarms, you got the fragment after, you still have shock darts if you have to. And there's just so much Orangutan have to try and jump over. There's a ton of hurdles. They thought this would be a sprint. That's what they want to do. 100-meter sprint, a dash, if anything. But it's becoming a bit more of a slower crawl in these moments.
I'd say it's even a triathlon with a pole vault to boot, and right now Kohaibee and Cameo bringing in the damage, but the Orangutan do fight back. 2-for-2 trade now. to open up the middle at the very least. Will this pull attention away though from Shirazi's formation? Alexi, Owl drone right now to figure out where Chloe is stationed. We get them from the shadows, so Orangutan, they really just want to make it post-plant as soon as possible. The smoke into play, Ops there, and Shirazi cannot find anyone to cross.
Planted.
Well, they have the site. No beaming presence, but I don't think that's too needed in this moment. They have the market, and that's what they have to play for here. Chloe, oh no, she has to be checking her rear. Has to trust that somebody has got that stair walkway, but it doesn't come, and now they lose that lockdown.
And that 3v2 now, advantage clear here for SMG. Committed positions here for Orangutan. Casper has to play it clutch alongside Japips if ever. Now did the push from Speedway to swing coast, but Casper gets one anyway. Shirazi isolating Japips now. Low HP on the Omen here. The push comes to shove, and Tara will be able to get that takedown. SMG still keep it cool, and it becomes a 7-1 scoreline now.
Oh, yeah, as soon as they lost Chloe there, it just became so much more difficult, but in that case, 2v3. You'd like to see maybe Japips push up towards that stairs, take the fight early, and potentially win to equalize things 2-2. In that case, when you play such a committed position like that, to be frank, I hate that position that players so often love to play with a deficit. When you don't have the player advantage, or you don't have the man count in your way, that just gives them a free trade. And we see that happen exactly there.
It's just so committed, and sometimes you want to rely on that extra angle to catch them mid-transit, right? To make that pinch work. But when you don't have the numbers, it will just dwindle down, unfortunately, in front of your face. And SMG, we said how strong they have been all throughout this tournament run, but again and again, every single round, they're making that statement that they're the team to beat. That this is the caliber of play that should be here in Game Changers APAC. And Orangutan, they've had a stellar run. They've had some strong challenges, but they need to prove right here, right now, especially early on into the series, that they can stand toe-to-toe with SMG.
Yeah, this is looking quite problematic, to say the very least, for Orangutan. Have an option to split the site here, but SMG once more ready for this. They know to stack 3 players on towards the site.
Oh man, Kohibi swings it anyway! And Kohibi heating on up, and SMG will at least have something reserved to get those takedowns. Flash comes from Camu. Chloe, though, better angle to get that takedown, but look who's waiting. Alexi just silencing the opposition at the end. It's another one for SMG.
My goodness. SMG, very good half so far. Even if they don't win any more rounds in this half, it's still going to be pretty good for them. Orangutan, some tools to work with, but it hasn't even been coming to that. Team SMG, don't even let them utilize the ultimates that they've got, because by the time it even gets to the execute many times on over, there's just such a firm advantage SMG have that Orangutan are almost kind of disheartened, or the option of using the ultimate in general is just thrown away.
It's almost never a fair fight versus SMG because of how SMG plays the positions. Orangutan, when they get close, when they have the angle, they are sharp. But it's a simple statement here for SMG. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good util that you want to be, and Alexi already peppering the opposition. Kohibi even finds Cindy along the way. Chloe, though, big pick, opens up the site at the very least, but will SMG swing it from the rafters? Though that's the question. Pulses come with the suppressed doorway now broken. Kohibi seen by Jeff and gets that takedown. Shirazi over onto Cubby, though, and Chloe able to isolate that one. Another one here for Clutch Chloe. Kohibi blowing up Zinni, though. High ground now here for the side of SMG. Tara finds a trade even, but it's 1v1, 2v2 rather. Movement yet again. Camu still pulsing for the side of SMG as the wraparound is there from Chloe. It's up to Tara, but Orangutan will make their mark. Finally, we get the round from them in such a hard route.
Much better. And you see the difference there, Daks, when they actually do end up having the option to hard hit the site they want to. When they're able to, start that chaos, when they're able to create commotion within the site and on the execute, that is where Orangutan play best, because they're one of the best teams at trading each other out in that kerfuffle when the rumble is happening. But it just hasn't been happening too often here for Orangutan. If they can replicate that success once more, then this could be the start of them on this comeback.
And I love the wraparound we saw there from Orangutan too. The fact that they played towards that rafters. Big picks by Casper towards Camu, as well as Chloe, just getting those instrumental kills to keep Orangutan alive. Said it before, Orangutan, they can play it clutch, especially with crucial players. And they do it yet again now, as they're looking to go for that B side. Hunter's Fury, though, the call to begin with. Seems like Alexi trying to contest from the other side of the map. From the shadows now, trying to garner some intel. Execute here, Cammy though falls first. Shirazi still alive by the staircase, but Chloe has her number immediately. Shows Upper Prime at the ready, gets a takedown. Alexi's there too, and Gohaibi keeping it critical now. Chloe though, danger close. Die name is Chloe, still fights back. Paranoia is there, and a bit of a regroup. Tara though, caught in the reload, able to transit over to the corner inside. Doesn't know here, it's a 1v2.
He still thinks that Lexi was there towards CT, but he can now infer that's probably swapped on over, especially if she makes contact with Tara here. It's going to be difficult to dismantle, and Tara just gets the kill in the end. It was looking so well for Orangutan. It went 4v3 in their favor on that push, but then just the showstopper from Gohaibi threw everything around. She gets the 2 kills that she needed to gain them the advantage on the defensive side, and that's when, you know, Orangutan simply crumbled. When they don't win those trades on out, a lot of times the other parts of their plan just simply don't hold up.
Yeah, the speed of the rotation was huge here from the side of SMG, because they still threw out utility to time it right in waves. That Hunter Fury allowed Gohaibi to get in position. That Showstopper allowed Alexi to get in position. That Paranoia allowed the 1v2 reset. Those are the variations that SMG manipulates to their favor. Tara though, get away from that one, and Alexi is still the true enforcer, a made woman on top there, ready to protect the rest of SMG.
And you can see there, they have so much utility to isolate that entry, to cut off the push, and really split that execute in half. You maybe have a player or two, you know, be able to cross the precipice into the main, but after that, everybody just gets trapped within it as Tara gets a kill because of the utility that, you know, SMG have got to throw out.
Cover going
Well,
out.
indeed, and speaking of that one, Casper trying to make a play with the smokes. If she teleports here, does Tara and Gohaibi have the angle? Isn't it scary? Generator flash comes though, and Gohaibi and Cammy. In a blink of an eye, Blackenblue, we are done with the first half. SMG, they are dominant, they are strong, and with a 10-2 scoreline right now, you have to say that this is SMG's series, or rather map to win. Let's throw it over to the panel so far to break down what happened in the first half.
I mean, it's pretty much looking like, you know, series there, especially since Daks mentioned that, like, you know, he corrected himself, but I wouldn't, just because of how dominant they look. Again, this tag team, this conservation of energy from Team SMG. Earlier, it was Gohaibi and Shirazi. Here on Ascent, it's Shirazi a little bit and Alexi. My goodness, Zahk, the moment there's point of contact from, like, either one, it's a double or at least a quadruple. Just like round 5, where Alexi pulled out a 4K that was too fast for anybody to see. Oh my goodness.
I remember typing to you about the previous round. That was a nice retake, huh, Mika? And then I looked
And
back
it
at the
was
screen, and then it's just like, wait, what? 4K from where? But yeah, Alexi has been huge on this particular map, on that solo role. She's been able to play that role of the anchor time and time again, round and round again on that A side. That synergy between her and Tara, the way they're able to just get these kills for free by dry peeking, it's something that Orangutan should be in no form or shape allowing. You know, it is the attacking half. Orangutan historically do better on defense. That might just be me trying to dig out some copium though, because so far, SMG on every single way they've been looking dominant. And this is the thing, right? SMG, in the previous times they picked up this map in this tournament, they ran an entirely different team comp. Like, I was going through it, and they had like a Chamber and a Phoenix and what you'd expect to see from, I don't know, from the likes of Team Liquid in 2021. But now they brought their best. They respect Orangutan as an opponent, and so far it just seems like Orangutan, they're not prepared for what SMG has brought to the table.
Absolutely not. Not when they're performing in this way. And, you know, the rounds that Orangutan have won, like, yes, you did see, like, you know, some good usage of utility and everything, but I feel like it's more of things that, you know, didn't go the way of Team SMG, like more of like little mistakes. Like, there was one clash wherein I think Japeeps just caught Gohaibi just like a little half second, like, you know, just like it was too slow at that point, but it wasn't anything that was like yet as definitive as like saying like they can definitely come back. I'm quite worried for the side of Orangutan. For the side of Team SMG, I think they just keep doing what they're doing.
For Orangutan though, they've come back from 111. This isn't worse than that. This is 210. They could still make it happen. They could still make it happen. But I think that's gonna be enough from us. We've speculated enough. We're gonna be throwing it back to our wonderful casters, Blackenblue and Daks. You have it back.
Is it a foregone conclusion? I feel like there's still a chance though, since this is a best of 5 anyway, but the way they've been so decisive, the way that they have been playing, and the way that they have upped the standards of the game changer scene, SMG. The scoreline says it all, and how some of these rounds from the first half ended so quickly, Blackenblue. It's such a statement right now that you have to realize.
Not even just a statement at this point. It's a declaration of the new emperors to come. SMG here looking so clean. And we saw that on the defense. We're wondering if it'll, you know, work out on both ends. On the attack and defend, we saw that on Pearl. Could replicate itself once more here if they take an opening pistol, but Zinni, huge victory finds on Alexi.
Yeah, well, let's not draw conclusions early on. Orangutan have shown they can get away with amazing recoveries and amazing frags. Pistol, the perfect time to go for it. 4v3 immediately, as I do believe we saw early on Orangutan get that first pick. And I do like the fact that now they're clearing out so much of these angles. Main cleared, SMG committed towards the site itself.
Well, they had the, you know, player advantage in this case. And knowing that the Orangutan are one of the best teams at trading each other out, this could mean them finally taking a pistol round here away from SMG. Shirazi, Sheriff in hand, great shot to connect, could follow up, but no, Casper's got it. 1v3, and everything's going Orangutan's way as they take the pistol to hold on to the half.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is still fight here for Orangutan. This is a squad that will refuse to lose no matter what. And they see a scoreline like this as a challenge. They see this run that they have to do to be something possible. And of course, with shots like that, that sharp, it's always going to be in the cards. I wonder though, Blackenblue, what's going to be the plan here moving forward for Orangutan's defense? Because SMG, you still have to figure out what kind of pace these guys want to really play on a map like this.
Well, I want to see what defensive setups first Orangutan play on out here, right? SMG and one of the best teams at really making sure they can condition early in the half the opposition and then totally switch it up near the end of that half. And that's what Orangutan have to try and stay away from being kind of played toward.
Cover going out.
As it stands right now here for SMG, they do vie for mid. Orangutan in the meantime, guns at the ready. And I'd love to see these setups yet again. You have Casper and Chloe on one side. You know how strong that duo is together. On the other, still a lot of utility and a lot of intel can be provided by Zinni and Japip. So I'm keeping an eye out of how Orangutan's really gonna read the SMG rotations. They're playing towards Cubby right now here for the attack. Alexi moves away. Oh, doesn't even know Wine's there. So is Orangutan prepared for this? Seems like they're keeping an eye out already of this part of the map, especially.
Almost taking a sip out of the wrong cup there. Once more, the delay, the amount of delay that they can propose is a big thing. The Precious and Chloe, they're just eco-fragging the hell out of SMG here right now. As Orangutan, flawless round, which is important for economical states, but also just, you know, confidence in this. It can be such a big blow to the lungs when you lose a big map like Pearl to start off the series in such a huge deficit. To get these type of rounds, that helps.
Super decisive right now here from Orangutan, and you need more rounds like that. We've always talked about Orangutan being scrappy. We've always talked about Orangutan being the ones to do economical damage, especially in a thrifty state. But I want to see for Orangutan, if they want to make this comeback happen, especially them having the macro advantage, them having the big economy to work with, so they can still keep on buying up those guns. And rounds like that can go a long way here for the confidence, as you mentioned, but also the whole, I'd say, big picture for Orangutan moving forward in the second half.
Well, tech here for the meantime, but the big picture for Orangutan, it matters, but when you're in this type of situation, Daks, you have to take it round per round. You can't get too far ahead of yourself. You cannot start looking at the tree line when you've got some brush to walk through first. And the operator once more from Orangutan. I mentioned it during Pearl that, and actually throughout this tournament, that a lot of the defensive setups on Orangutan really anchor around having that operator be their biggest point of focus in terms of finding information, getting those picks, securing the man advantage, and simply just playing the trades on after. And that's the reason why Orangutan are, I think, by far the team that likes to pull out that op the earliest on just an average state. Round 3, as you see it already in the half, if they have the economy to support it, they will.
Yeah, it's something that they have used as a linchpin and again and again. I've noticed is actually all throughout the open tournament, more so than the standard VCT fanfare that we do, that these ops do come into play because they know how to play around it as much as possible, especially those early picks. Only problem is if SMG get wind of that and they realize there's an op on the other side of the map or whatnot, they just can go for the hard hit towards the site. That can be their opportunity to play post plans as early as possible with the comp that they have, and then that will be the problem for Orangutan. So it is a bit of a risk, and it's something that Orangutan have used to success. But can SMG exploit that, or will Orangutan get another notch in their belts? We find out as we move now to the next round.
Of course, the op. It has to be supported. There has to be someone there to shoot out the utility for that operator. Here comes an out the peak. Capricious trying to go for it, and they still find her! That is huge.
That's a big pick. Goodbye, op, and hello, SMG. Anyone else gonna pick that one up? Spectre's in hand for the rest of Orangutan instead. And the execute comes through the nanoswarm. No Ziddy trying to get past that ball, but Shirazi's there for cover. Alexi decisively finding two. And yet again here, Blackenblue, in the blink of an eye, Orangutan is already tossed aside.
Shirazi gets a final kill without much of a problem here. SMG take the round. And this is one of those moments where I like to tout it up a lot of times. Just because you have the economy to support the op and to buy it doesn't mean you necessarily should. And stylistically, I think this is one of the worst teams to try and force those ops out over and over. We saw it on Pearl B, if anything, kind of a detriment to their defensive side over the linchpin that we normally do see. And Team SMG, a lot of times on the attacking side, your problem is finding out where that op is or even recognizing if there's an op on the other side. But they always just play so disciplined enough to not let that op get its fullest amount of value that it might otherwise have against a different team.
And this prevents the full buy now here for a side of Orangutan, since Capricious invested a lot in that previous round. The timeout though called. Suddenly shocked by how quickly SMG was able to get the assessment. Sure, it was a magnanimous kill from Kahaibi, but the problem right now for Orangutan is it seems like they're lacking in that staying power because they're putting so much cards on finding those first picks. Suddenly, SMG threw out the flashes, threw out the suppression. They had the nanoswarm, or rather the fragment, I believe, towards the door area from the market, and there was just no opportunity for Orangutan to intercept SMG. The overrun, so well refined.
They're refined in, that's the thing, Daks. Not just the overrun, but in the slow play, the defaults, the post plans, the defensive setups when they were in the first half. Everything looking absolutely perfect here for Team SMG in this series. And we haven't seen much of a fight just yet on Orangutan in the larger picture. Individual rounds, yes, but closing out those rounds has been a problem.
Capricious, where are you going? But Chloe! Chloe lines them all up easily! Everyone was paying attention to Capricious, and now Orangutan looking to just crush them and catch them in the act. What went on with the round, but in the end, Orangutan, they just see the funnel and they just make a meat grinder out of it. That's the round going their way.
Okay, that works out. That was looking really dangerous there for Capricious. It seems to be she was like, okay, I don't have the best economy on me, so Chloe, hold my drink, watch me do this. And that she did.
I've heard of bait and switches, but that was just ridiculous.
Yeah, there's no other way to put it. Ridiculous.
Everyone looked towards Capricious. I think even SG is like, she's repositioning towards Speedway. We gotta be careful, and because of that timing, Chloe, of course, you give her a second to spare. She will not spare any of you. So quickly done by Orangutan, and the active map control at the very end. At least that's the good sign they're looking for, that they're still so hyper-mobile around this map despite being on the defense.
And hasn't Chloe been such a reliable, consistent player for Orangutan? One of those rocks that we see for this team, much akin to maybe a player like Nabsky, who's also one of those reliable sentinels. Shirazi as well being that here on SMG's side instead. But they like to split this site quite up often. SMG love having multiple points of control. Capricious, look at this deep push. Oh no, gives herself away.
Heartbreaker, a chance there, but Chloe, of course, no chance to fight against her. Kohaibi goes down. Alexi making magic happen in the middle yet again, finding openings, but the timing from the tips even better. More so, Cameo though finds Casper. Now then, the numbers do pile up in favor of SMG. They also have the lockdown into play and forces out Orangutan to wait on the opposite end here.
Yeah, 2v3. Sheriff in the hands of Cameo. And they're all within the site. Recon doesn't really find much, but the lack of information is information in of itself. They're both going to come from the lane.
Yeah, it seems like Speedway is going to be the
Right
call
here.
here right now for Orangutan. Double up with the flash from the smoke, especially Shirazi though. She sees everything, doesn't get hit by the pop, and instead pops the heads of two in the end. It's match point now for SMG.
Quick and clean here. My goodness. Team SMG, I don't think, even during, the run last year of a team like Alter Ego Celeste, and that Grand Finals run as well, coming there from Sapphire, this is arguably so even more dominant, although it isn't as long of a time span as we saw Alter Ego Celeste, but it's just so dominant within this vacuum of this split open one. The Team SMG are undoubtedly one of the favorites, actually the favorite, to win this series in Orangutan. They've been in a situation where they were the underdogs before, but this is a lot for them to digest.
Yeah, I've heard of David and Goliath stories, but this is just a whole different level right now. The stats don't lie. The win streak from SMG kept on going from the start of the tournament. One of the highest round differentials all around. Of course, Orangutan, Chloe doesn't care about those stats. Here she goes yet again, trying to be critical for the squad. 3 for Chloe, Casper there's 2. Shirazi, the only one left in the 1v2 situation. And that's where Orangutan thrives. Make those duels happen early on. Flash comes from the market. Shirazi at the ready yet again. Zinni goes down, and Shirazi, can she do it against Capricious? Yes, she does with a clutch. The Shirazi show, it goes on. And for SMG, the streak continues even more so.
I mentioned just how reliable she is, and that she is as well. One of the best clutches you're gonna see in the scene, and you come and see it go into full effect in that round. Incredible stuff once more from Team SMG, and I thought Ascent is where we're gonna finally see, Orangutan come back in this game, but it never came to pass. We're gonna throw it over to our panel. Zach and Mika, how you guys doing? What you think?
My mind was blown. I mean, I didn't expect Shirazi. I thought like Team SMG were just gonna hang back. It's like, it's okay. We have a massive lead. It's all right. Shirazi just decided, no, we can end it now. And boom. Oh my gosh, this team is crazy, Zach.
Every single player stepping up huge for sure from SMG. Like we talked about last map, it was Gohaibi's show-stopping show. That's a pun on the race. But I think for this one, like you mentioned, Alexi was huge in that first half. But once that side swap happened, it's like Shirazi woke up. It's like her inner, I don't know what she was doing last night, what she had before coming to play today. But she is definitely hitting every single shot. The last 1v3 was just beautiful coming out of her. But I think that for SMG overall, it's just them looking to be the stronger team on every front, whether they're able to hit these shots, picking advantageous confrontations. I think one of the greatest points that Blackenblue brought up during his cast was that Orangutan, they're great at hard-hitting sites, but they never ever had the chance at all today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so difficult. I mean, look at this. Look at the scoreline. And SMG has been doing this, since we started this tournament, actually. And by the time the side switched, it was just too much of a big differential. And when you have that kind of scoreline, it's like so difficult to rally back, even though they did have some great rounds on this half, right? Like Chloe was just such a a fantastic player, especially like I think there was like 3 consistent triples, if I recall correctly, like in this half. And not just that, I love the play of Capricious being like little white rabbit and be like, hey, watch the bunny, and then boom, 3K from Chloe from behind. So that I think that they had a lot of great ideas. It's just that SMG was just too close, and by the you couldn't make a mistake with that kind of scoreline. Unfortunately, though, when you're up against Team SMG, you're bound to.
Yeah, it was a really tough situation considering how dominant that first half was. Like you mentioned, they were able to kind of start to come back on the defense, but there was just no room for mistakes to be made. And SMG, they really were able to capitalize on every single mistake. Like look at this differential here, 11-7 first kills. That's just a testament to how much stuff Alexi as well as Tara were getting away with on that A side in that first half. Time and time again, they were able to just kind of go for that swing, get a kill. Nobody knows how it happened. Us Orangutan, they were all equally confused. So it just looked really, really rough for them. And of course, even if you look at the post-plant stuff, I think SMG, most of the time they were just killing people, but even when they were able to get the plant down, they only lost that post-plant one time on that pistol, if I'm not wrong. So it was just a very dominant showing coming out of them on this particular map. And at this point, right, we gotta ask ourselves what's left in the tank for Orangutan, because individually they've been able to put up numbers, but as a whole, they just look so discombobulated compared to what SMG is showing us.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is one of the maps wherein, like Blackenblue mentioned, economy played such a big role here. Just because there was that early investment and an off for Capricious on their side on defense, which I feel like really damaged Orangutan's economy because they lost it right away, and then they had to scrap their way through the next rounds. And then how are you gonna do that when you have Team SMG on the other side fully equipped, you know?
One enemy remaining. Flawless.
I mean, you're completely right. The economy was one thing, but also momentum. Like, SMG, they had it in spades over the course of the entire map. Like, Orangutan, 2 rounds that they won, one of them was with that economic advantage with better weapons, and the second one, well, it was like 2 ultimates that they needed, 2 or 3. Like, they used the null command, the lockdown, all of that to be able to get onto site and get those advantageous trades, and for Chloe to get that heavenly position to be able to clutch out the round. But talking about heavenly positions, I think that A site heaven, it was just something that was Alexi's forte throughout the entire map when she was on the defense. 57 headshot percentage. I don't think I've ever seen that particular number crop up before. Insane.
I mean, the pure firepower on this girl, right? How many Hunter's Fury did you count, by the way? Was anybody keeping count?
Every 3 rounds.
Every 3 rounds. My goodness. And, you know, let's not forget that I believe that she was IGL, right? For Brent Victus as well. In last year, and that's just so powerful. You know, you have that kind of quick strategies, you have that kind of calling, you have a second kind of IGL right alongside Tara, which means that this is why Team SMG is like so well covered, right? You have 2 brains. You have 2 brains here, and when you combine that with, you know, the role that she has like an initiator, oh my goodness, how are you even gonna outplay this team at this point? It's just gonna be so difficult, Zach.
Definitely think so too, but you know, map 3, this will be the true question whether Orangutan they can make a comeback, or whether SMG they're gonna be what Alter Ego was in 2021, winning entire opens without dropping a map. They have a chance to kind of cement that feat into 2023, which I don't think any other region has that really going for them, so they will be able to kind of get that done. But let's see who will come out on top on Lotus. Before that, we're gonna be taking a short break, so stay tuned.
back, you guys. You are watching VCT Game Changers APAC, and you are back with Mika and Zach. And it is currently 2-0 in favor of Team SMG with Pearl and Ascent in their corner. Now we head into Lotus, and Zach saying this is one of their best maps is an understatement.
Pretty much so. I think the one time that they have picked it up so far, they were able to pull off an extremely dominant win against Sapphire. 13-2 if I'm not mistaken, so definitely a map that they've proven that they have full control of, and I say this with all due respect. They were even running I think that when they did play this particular map, they were running a Neon on that duelist, which is a particular pick that I haven't seen before. For Orangutan though, I still have a little bit of hope in my heart, because this is a map where they lost before. They were able to kind of bounce back into this when they played Kaguya on it, not once, not twice, and they were able to find revenge, but it went all the way to overtime. It was super scrappy, and if you consider that SMG, they were able to win 13-2, it just shows that overall their preparation might just be better, unless Orangutan, they have some tricks we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, with Orangutan, this was their last stand, right? Yesterday against RRQ Kaguya. And we could probably say that, they might want to do it again. But again, that dominance from Team SMG, that dominance from the very beginning of the series, actually, is just undeniable so far. And Team SMG, it doesn't really look like they've really, truly been pushed to their limits just yet. We're not hitting that cap yet. Orangutan, though, they're gonna have to dig deep and really, to pull every single cent that they have out of them in order to take this this map to even an even scoreline. Chloe is playing out of her mind right now, I should say, but will it be enough for Orangutan?
I think it has to be a team-wise effort. Like you mentioned on map number 2, Chloe definitely woke up, especially in that second half. You also saw moments of Casper coming out on map 1. So these two, they've been stepping up to the plate, but the rest of the team has to kind of buckle up as well. Because on SMG, it's been a team-wise effort so far. The reason why Tara doesn't have kills is because she doesn't need them. Everybody else is already getting them. When you have Alexi getting 4Ks and Shirazi getting 3Ks and Kwaibi getting an ace, you don't need anyone else to frag out. It's okay. But Orangutan, they don't have the same luxury, so they're going to have to kind of buck it up here.
Exactly, and we do know that this is a roster that's still, there are a few new members, so they still kind of have to get it together. On the other side, we could say the same thing about Team SMG, but as we pointed out earlier, you actually have 2 IGLs on this roster, so you kind of have 2 brains. So, and this seems to be working. This tandem seems to be working. If you do have Tara calling it out at the top of the round, and you might have Alexi calling it mid-round, it shows why Team SMG is prepared for everything. And right now, as we're seeing the lineups, the agent composition as we have here, we have the Jet and we have Team SMG sticking with the Neon that they brought out earlier, Zach.
Yeah, I think for somebody like Kohaibi used to these high adrenaline speed kind of peaks, Neon perfectly fits her. Ray's also lets her find that value with the satchels, but I think on Neon she's finding a new kind of synergy with the team to head into. I also have my eyes on that double initiator pick coming through for both of these teams. Now the fun fact is that for Orangutan, when they started out playing on Lotus, they were happy to bring that Euro win, but after they lost to RRQ, this is the team they re-strategized and came up with to be able to win. And now they're in a lot of pressure. Their backs are against the wall. They have everything to lose and only a long way ahead for them to possibly make this comeback. But I'm gonna never say never. I think that's gonna be it for us right now. It's all down to our casters. Blackenblue and Daks, you have the floor.
The sweep or the reverse sweep. Either way, it begins here, ladies and gentlemen. We are back to our third map of this best of 5 between Team SMG as well as Orangutan. I'm Dax here with Blackenblue, and this is gonna be an interesting predicament, my friend. On one side for SMG, you saw them one of the most convincing wins all throughout the playoffs against Sapphire on Lotus. On the other, for the side of Orangutan, one of the best maps they've ever played against RRQ Kaguya, taking it in overtime. There's scrappiness and there's confidence. There is a lot of fight right now, but who do you think has the edge moving forward here?
I mean, it certainly has to be Team SMG, right? The great performance versus Sapphire was super convincing, as opposed to the overtime win coming versus RRQ there from Orangutan. But as you said, Dax, it's do or die, now or never. Failure or falter going to be difficult now for Orangutan now that they're down 2-0. Still, though, possible? Yes. Probable? Unlikely, but I want to see them prove us wrong. I want to see them at least give us a new map here. And as Zach talked about, they're bringing in that Jet comp that we saw them play last night.
Yeah, it was better, especially compared to the Yoru shenanigans they were trying to do beforehand. But SMG, so active on the map control. Zach also mentioning about that Neon really suiting Kohabi's needs. Precious though with the takedown on Kamiyu. Japips also finding Kohabi's Orangutan already with the advantage until Alexi is able to stabilize. She's been an absolute rock in the mid-round. SMG making it 3v3.
Well, they get their opening contact that they wanted, right? To be able to take that rubble away, to be able to take the site immediately is the playstyle that Orangutan love to play with lots of times. So Tara doesn't expect Capricious there to be coming up the ropes, baited off the angle.
Remaining.
Yeah, great timing there from Orangutan. Even better here from Chloe. Catches out Alexi too, and everyone's at the ready to receive Shirazi. They learned the lesson from the last map. Don't just go one by one against her, and it will be the pistol going the way of Orangutan.
Yeah, great start here finally for Orangutan. To secure a round like that means big possibilities for them moving forward. Well, at least gain them the advantage here to start off the game. And that's, I mean, when you're down 2-0, you need every advantage. So I'd like to believe that the Orangutan will give us at least a single map if they don't win this series, that they could win this Lotus one and give us, you know, a bit of a more contested game. But we saw Orangutan yesterday, and we saw that they were able to keep things going even when it was difficult.
Yeah, this is their second pistol win all throughout the series. One thing to watch out for is Capricious now leading the charge and looking to get back that confidence. We saw how hot-handed she was yesterday between Big Sight and Ark and Kaguya. It was a big reason why Orangutan was succeeding in the first place. Speaking of her though, he's being spotted out by Tara. Casper now with the trade. 4v4 on site yet again here for Orangutan.
You see there once more. This time they don't send Capricious alone. You see the backup coming in here. The trades coming in for Orangutan. And that seemingly was a part of their identity. They weren't able to really flex in the last two games. This time around, a quick round once more ended by Orangutan 2-0.
Yeah, and I like that fact right now here for Orangutan. There's less distance to cover. Your Jet will get a good clear, yes, but someone needs to be there to receive or to refrag. And case in point, if this was just Capricious all alone, Tara would have gotten away with one kill, maybe even pick up a gun along the way and reset and have waterfall position. But Orangutan, damage control is so important right now. They need to make sure frags keep falling the way they want to.
Yeah, they can't let those advantages that they are able to secure early on in the half just be, you know, erased away. And so Orangutan, as of the moment, once again trying to go for this C hit. The no mix-up, which we've come accustomed to towards that piece like yesterday. Maybe they're going to do a bit more of that here now.
Yeah, just go again, but Ben now going to get peppered by the now from Shirazi, despite the stun. Still going to be stunning up her on Shirazi. Show yet again in prime time. Gets 3 before she falls. Tara next on the list, and Tara will be there to stand attention to. SMG convincingly get around on the board.
Without much of a fight. And you see how much ground those nanoswarms cover. All the way from that main towards the water corner on the pillar, and there just wasn't any space there for Capricious to keep going. Either you pull back and still stay within those nanoswarms, or press forward and have to walk into the sightlines here of the waiting Shirazi. Just so much for them to deal with in that case. It was their bonus, so not too big of a loss just yet. But the Orangutan, they need to secure rounds like this coming into the rifle.
Yeah, they learned a lesson there for SMG, though. They understood the take. Orangutan wanted to play towards that C site. This time, though, you can always notice SMG wants to play front-facing towards A main especially. The beauty of the Neon is you can clear it out really easily with the high gear. You also have the fast lane for cover. And SMG right now just narrowing the choices of Orangutan to begin with.
Yeah, you can cover that ground real quick here. But this is a very similar setup to what we were seeing RQ do yesterday with SMG now, right? You'd see Kohabi, this case, on that Neon, supported with the Sova up close. You know, a lot of times you'd want to see that breach to be there to help out with a fault line if it ever did come to it. But Orangutan still trying to choose their options. They attempted C, felt the pressure off that Sentinel, went towards B, saw the smoke, now they're coming towards A.
And now they see Kohabi even. Aldrone there to get the spot. Quick little stun to try and go for this engagement. Camu is going to be firm here on her position. Finds to make that a third towards the lobby even. Chloe, though, finds the timing, catches out the Sova at the very end. But the damage has been decisive. Advantage now here for SMG as they scramble to try and intercept
30
Orangutan.
seconds left.
She still had bullets in the mag there, Cameo. You could argue she might have been able to find a fourth and realize how lower ammo count was, but they can split this. They can fake this door, and they can go towards this lane, especially since Alexi isn't ready. They have to win this fight, but no, Alexi keeps it alive. The flash comes in through. She can run and get the spike down, but they're trailing her, they're chasing her, and Shirazi gets the kill in the round.
Yeah, SMG, they still chase them down and take them down. You mentioned it. Oh, Orangutan, the right idea to fake to the door, but that has to be a heartbreaker there for Chloe. Alexi able to still stabilize and get the takedown in response. Zinni caught in transition. And SMG just making sure that a map like this runs out of choices. You have 3 sites to pick from, and SMG is prepared at all of them. This equalizes a scoreline, and I do wonder what the plan right now is for Orangutan. Which
Careful
site
there.
will they hit the hardest, especially knowing the fact they have the Blades online?
Well, we've been talking about Alexi a lot, but I think Camu is a player who, even though we saw her during Game Changers, you know, FSL Elite last time around, she's just so underappreciated and really rated on how much value she's able to get. But Capricious opens up the site here. Shirazi quick on the trade.
Shirazi trying to keep the raid going, and now it's gonna be 2 here for Shirazi. Even the third before she falls. Kohaibi now will be the second wave, and Kohaibi will say goodbye to the rest of Orangutan. 3-2, it's SMG again.
Kohaibi has such a, how do I say this? Disarming name, right? You're like, Ohio, hi, nice. But then she's just such a demon in the server as well. Absolutely, such a force to be reckoned with. And Shirazi, more of the same here and locking things down.
Of all the people I expected that from, it's you.
Really?
What's your
mean,
most
wasn't me?
what's your most kawaii voice? Of all the people we cast with, you are the least weebiest one of them all, and you actually bring that out. Anyway, though, back to the game and back to Kohaibi trying to fight Capricious, though. Does keep control of Rubble, and this is perfect for Orangutan. Since they have the Rubble angle, they can keep going towards main, keep the doorway suppressed as much as possible, and the kills go their way. The read was strong there from Orangutan, and they find SMG mid-transit.
And isn't this their bread and butter, right, Daks? To be able to make that hard contact early in the round, catch off that defense, who maybe weren't expecting that pace to be shaken up that much. But Alexi finds a double here to try and make it doable. A third for her. But Chloe shuts it down before it got too out of hand.
Yeah, Alexi is just not just that mid-round caller, I'd say, but also that mid-round beacon of hope out of nowhere. Finds the 3K to keep SMG alive. Still, though, this early play here from Orangutan was just magnificent. They needed a way to dissuade SMG moving forward from playing towards the Rubble. They needed to at least keep that part of the map under control. And from the way that they're going to be able to play the execute towards the corner itself, it does seem like that now SMG, who has been trying to narrow these choices, their choices instead lead them towards the mound instead.
Well, leading them towards an even better case. But Capricious just still wins that fight. She had every advantage in that to hold that with the op, but just never came.
Tower picks it up. Do wonder if they're gonna use it for the rest of the round or just stow it away instead. This is a good sign though here for Orangutan. We saw a glimpse of it in the pistol, and Capricious now heating up when they need her the most. One of the biggest reasons that win versus RQ Kaguya. Paranoid though gets a connection, but Tara still spotted anyway. Capricious with a takedown. Magnificently done here by the side of Orangutan. 5v2, the committed ultimates used by SMG, but they're in such committed spots now. Capricious with the third, Chloe's there too, and Orangutan finally waking up when they need to the most. This is their lead.
That was such a great risk and a great round in general for Capricious. She finds the opening pick there towards that stairs, and even with a player advantage, you would wonder, like, why would you try and push that smoke? It's because they knew that Rolling Thunder was available from SMG, and we saw yesterday versus RRQ that when RRQ had reinitiate and retake utility and ultimates like the lockdown, it became a big problem for the post plan of Orangutan, and so they pressed the issue. You see her push that pace, you see her cut into the lines when they least expect it, and they win the round because of it. Great stuff here from Orangutan.
But SMG is now putting even more forces towards that A side. Orangutan wisely backing on away. The assessment here from Orangutan looking a lot better compared to the past 2 maps. This is their chance here. It's a best of 5 for good reason. There's so much more to play for, especially if Orangutan is able to win it. But SMG, they're even holding closer towards lobby. It's an equal stake for them. Does the Aldron get any kind of intel? I do wonder if it spotted out Kohaibi. Still though, because of all the antics of SMG, OGT decided to move towards C instead.
Well, I mean, that one way alone should alert them of deep presence there towards the Rubble from SMG. see Shirazi realizes there's a lot to come her way, so plays back instead. Knows all she has to do here is make sure the Orangutan don't simply take CT without much of a fight as the plant goes planted down.
Spike
Very nice
planted.
Shirazi over onto the corner, and she is just a hair's like away, tries to thread the needle, hits the shot on the Gypsies eventually. Overdrive though into play, but Capricious and Casper keeping it cool towards the hallway itself. Cameo now from the waterfall, and Tara does find at least one. Cameo with another one. Alexi taps it down too, and SMG looking for pain, looking for the power, but Casper has control in the clutch. Orangutan, they survive that round.
That was great help there for Alexi. For the shot, it almost looked like Cameo for a second, but the gravity well there perfectly placed and timed by Casper. Luckily, they had that prepared. Shirazi, she could have been good for a double in this case if she maybe had her classic out or something else. Still though, great damage done by SMG on their eco. They call a timeout here to stop the momentum when one of the most momentum heavy teams, as ultimates abound completely here for Orangutan.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yes,
is this the
you're
first
wrong.
time? Okay, thank you.
Okay,
is
no,
this
go
the
ahead.
first time that SMG called a timeout?
I think so. I think you're right. I don't recall one. Every timeout so far has been Orangutan.
I'm not too sure. I hope our panel can tell us also if they can remember that. But it's finally here. SMG has to actually put the brakes themselves on what is going on. Orangutan, they're just so incredible at keeping calm in the face of pressure. You see an overdrive in your face, still hit those shots anyway. You still play that advanced position. You get hit by taps from the sheriffs from Waterfall. You have ways to still find the time to set up things like the star to really control the pace of what SMG's retake looks like. And that's a beautiful Orangutan. In those high-octane, fast-paced scenarios, they make very quick decisions that work out for them.
You know, Dax, we're coming to round 9, and we have yet to see a single actual B take from Orangutan.
Oh.
Isn't that something?
I remember a lot of times that happened yesterday. It was
We got many
chaos
different
controlled.
looks.
And here we have it now. Look here! Kohaibi! That's a takedown. Cameo is gonna be there too. And SMG in the blink of an eye, making their A main push this time work. Lobby now gonna get lobbed by at least the shock darts. Alexi, that's the wrong arm to bring out. Chloe will get the takedown, but the spike just right in front of them right now. Casper on retrieval. SMG already decisive damage to begin with.
And you see what happens when that rubble push is supported by a breach. That's what I'm talking about. That fault line, crucial for halting, you know, the pace and the pressure that the Orangutan love to have on the attacking side. They know to expect Cameo in this angle. She's been playing it before, but Casper's all alone.
Ooh.
Very low HP, still gets that kill. 1v2, not out of the question for a clutch here.
Look, Casper is just so aggressive, and she times it right so well. If she was only half a second too late, that paranoia would have killed her. But a low HP, unfortunately, will deny of any further success. Shirazi, still so stable. SMG with an early advantage in the round, lets them take the result for this.
At the very least, they cut into that lead just a bit more. We know this map, typically attackers sided anyways, so they have the benefit of starting off here, at least Orangutan, to try and build up an early lead. And this is a bit more akin to what we see from them, right? We don't always typically see huge comebacks. We did see it last night versus RQ, but it's not something you normally come to expect from, you know, a team like Orangutan, who love to build up just as commanding lead earlier on. But yeah, interesting enough, Orangutan are one of the few teams here in this circuit who have a higher, albeit slightly, but still higher win rate on their defense when it comes to Lotus than their attack, which is in stark contrast to most teams we've got.
Yeah, and Lotus is a map fundamentally still suited for the attacking side, right? It's so hard to keep calm in the face of adversity, especially when you're getting barreled down by the opposition. But we've seen from Orangutan, when they moved over to the defense, that they're able to stabilize in places like a backside, that they're able to still stick around by upper, by waterfall, and those positions later on will help them. And it has helped them too. Here in the first half, when we see them get the sights, they'd love to at least keep an eye out, put that presence. It's especially, they don't necessarily overheat past hallway. They just know exactly what sphere of influence they need to win the round.
To know how much they can influence the map here, at least for Orangutan, is really the big defining factor that they're bringing into this map compared to the last two that we saw. They have a much more widespread approach and presence throughout the map that gives them much more options to do, and that's important on a map here like Lotus. But you want to talk about widespread presence, look at the flank here from SMG, a triple push on the mound.
Yeah, SMG, they went for it for the A side a while ago, this time from C, and the wrap around is clear. We do get what you've been asking for here, Blackenblue, though. We go for that B side, Cosmic Divide the call, and does SMG realize? No, they don't. They actually go for the lockdown towards instead, and Casper now finds Tara to begin with.
Big pick, Casper finds that drops a smoker here of that SMG squad. Gonna make that retake a lot more difficult. They still have the Hunter's Fury to destroy that lockdown, but they don't burn it. Camu, big pick on the peep. They're trying to stick this defuse. Alexi here, keeping it in check. Zinni, though, on the swing. Nothing connects, but only for Camu. Oh, huge kills, and everything crumbles on Orangutan as SMG tie up the game.
That was a roundabout way to go around the round itself. But then again, SMG, they find the form, they find the movement, and they get it done. They threw the lockdown towards the A side, but then again, you still have the forces that went for that lurk to cut through B there. And then Alexi, covered by the fast lane thrown out by Kohaibi. Orangutan was pushing, looking for all the other members there of SMG. And just from that point on, SMG was able to pull the rug under them and take the site away. What a maneuver there by SMG in the end.
Yeah, by taking, you know, the big power points you'd want for that post plant away, especially that B main, it just made the options for Orangutan much more limited. And they weren't in the comfortable spot that we normally like to be in that post plant. A lot of times they'd get into a post plant with so much control and it would just be suffocating for the defense. But SMG, because of that triple push, which they're doing once more, it helped their aid out.
Well, of all people though who can handle this triple push, it might be the best one to put Chloe with that responsibility. But Kohaibi close enough to get that takedown. Casper with his swing. But Alexi with the 2K so quickly. Camu though will fall to the hand of Japips. It's still at least the Sheriff getting the takedown. But here we go again, Blackenblue. Damage done. It's SMG with the advantage yet again.
Yeah, they know they have that player count in their hands. So they fall back instead, retrieve the rifles. And this is a pretty winnable round. Especially knowing that SMG, little to the information of Orangutan though, but you can see how their defense is spread. 1-1-1, and that will and could allow, you know, Orangutan here to simply overrun a site with a man count.
Yeah, it's a curious case. Alexi is one away from the Rolling Thunder, but since they don't have it as of yet, they're just gonna rely on these anchors to get the job done. Arsenal at the ready here from Orangutan, scrounging with the 5-finger discount. Blades so at the ready. There we go with the dart, and Alexi in a good spot right now to still stick around towards the bend itself. Aftershock thrown out. Alexi with third and the fourth! Doesn't matter! Alexi can handle anything you throw at her, and it's SMG with advantage.
That's a difficult transfer to hit too as well. When you got Capricious with the blades like that, who can completely, you know, keep on moving, be mobile, hyperly so. She still connects it. Alexi, such an incredible talent, not just cerebrally, but mechanically as well. And you see it come in those moments. How many times have we seen her win these type of 2v1s?
That's just Alexi for you by this point. One of the best you can get from PH side especially, and SMG happy to just trust one another to hold the sights down. Here we go though, back into the action and back with Kohaibi and Kamiyu. They connect with one another one more time. This push coming to an absolute shove, and it forces Orangutan off one more time. Hunter's Fury now the call, and Kohaibi wanting to push with it especially. Here comes Chloe though to try at least to find some semblance of order in all this chaos. But SMG, they thrive. SMG, they're getting in position. Nice shot from Casper, but the Rolling Thunder saves the play. Alexi now and Shirazi will clean up nicely. In the end, it's all SMG. They make it 7-5 to end the half, and we will throw it down to the panel to break down everything that went on.
Zach, I still don't know. I still don't know who's winning at this point. It was a great start by Orangutan. However, SMG, they are definitely catching on to what Orangutan is doing. And we do have to ask, because Daks asked this. Wow, what a tongue twister. Unexpected. Was this the first time for SMG to call a timeout? I believe it was.
Today, for sure. Over the course of the tournament, also, I think for sure. Fun fact, I think today this was the... I'm not sure. I mean, I of all the games I've watched / casted / analyzed, I would say so, because I haven't really seen them call for a timeout till today. But for today, definitely that was the first one. I think that overall, SMG, they're sticking to what they do best, which is hitting some insane shots, but also some really good adaptations coming in. Like the one time that Kohabi and Kamiyu got shut down towards that A main area, you immediately saw Alexi come in there with that backup on the breach, being able to quickly rotate over. And of course, at this point, Orangutan, they've definitely put up a much better performance. I think that they've gotten a much more even half heading into this, and unlike, I think, Blackenblue brought up, they have a better win percentage on that defense. But all things considered, knowing how SMG like to kind of go for the juggler on that attacking side, it's going to be a really tough fight for them.
Yeah, definitely. We did see some good strategies. We did see some good ideas on the side of Orangutan. But again, SMG, they're kind of sniffing it out and they're like, okay, we see what you're doing and then we're going to get hit harder. You're absolutely right as well with how Alexi is playing. She, she has that insurance policy. Again,
Headshots machine.
Yes, that's what SMG is so good at doing. They do have that initial, that initial attack, whether they're on defense or attack, by the way, and then they have Alexi bringing up the rear. So it just seems like there's so many levels to SMG. It's going to be so difficult for Orangutan to try and break through, but there is hope. They are giving the best fight they've had yet.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think for SMG, it's like kind of like like you mentioned, a level or layer system. Like, yeah, you break through Kohabi, you have to deal with Kamiyu. You break through Kamiyu somehow, you have to deal with Alexi. And so far, Orangutan, they've just kind of struggled getting through those different lines of defense. But, now it's going to be a side switch. It's going to be, if I'm not wrong, SMG who are on attack right now. So let's see if Orangutan can continue being a bastion. Over to you, casters.
Thank you there to Meek and Zach. No tongue twisters necessary whatsoever. But truth be told, I do wonder how Orangutan's gonna look into this defense right now here, Blackenblue, because we've seen from SMG, especially with that Neon, there's a lot more space to take than anyone would expect.
And it comes by force. Sometimes it can be very difficult to stop that Neon from simply just creating that chaos without much of a fuss, and it becomes a big problem for Orangutan lots of times. If they can't anchor things down, they have to play that retake, and that's typically where you've seen them benefit.
Oh, but here you have it now, ready to receive. It's Chloe. That's a big pick because SMG used that extra space from the Neon to all the availability in the world. Tara, though, finally checking out and catching out Chloe in response. So a push here from Alexi, though, finding Casper mid-transition. Perfect opportunity, but does she realize someone's still behind her? Turns around, though. Capricious goes down. Incredible again from Alexi. It's 3v2 now here.
So much value she keeps on getting from every one of her lives that she gets to play here. And Orangutan, they don't have the player count anymore that they initially had in this round. Whatever advantageous positions they had erased here. Camu simply runs down Zinni and follows up on the Japeeps. And SMG take a pistol when Orangutan are the ones who need it.
Yeah, it was a good start already there for Orangutan. You started off with Chloe playing a strong anchor, but with Alexi out of nowhere making that call to move towards staircase and catch Orangutan mid-transition with the split forces that you see often from Orangutan where they want to play that flank. If SMG can commit on one side of the map and put more into facing it, then they're going to be able to get the overrun. And case in point, Alexi, even in the retreat, getting away with the takedown. That's just extra energy and extra value here from SMG so far.
It would have been nice there if she was able to, exfil after getting that opening pick there, Chloe. Hold on to the 5v4, play the retake, because anchoring down hasn't really been their strongest suit so far, and there's no way she gets away with this. Tara, quick on the swing and quick on the side take.
Flash is perfect, but it's not enough firepower to get the takedown. Here we have it now. SMG is looking to collect those takedowns. Go high B already. Messing with the corpse before anything else, but this is what we're talking about. SMG's offense is so high octane and high distance. They get so much of the map so quickly because of that Neon and the breach together. And we've talked about it so many times there, Blackenblue. SMG as a unit, they know that the philosophy is to play with Kohabi space. From that point on, they just push and they get takedowns in space that they need. Alexi now, as well as, perhaps Tara gonna fall, but Casper cannot get away with the second one. It's 9-5, and SMG looking to keep momentum going.
To have that high octane, why is there a default Spectre? Not that I'm flaming on it, but where's your skins? Anyway, not that necessarily it's just high octane, but the fact that they're able to do it in such, I guess, clean fashion is completely throwing off Orangutan, because they're like, that's our play style. We're the ones who typically press that pace, but when they're the ones who are set to be, you know, kept running at a speed that they're not used to or comfortable with, Orangutan just simply haven't been good enough to, I guess, bring it back down to levels they're more comfortable with.
I think I'm looking for the term here right now. Pacemakers. Orangutan so happy to keep the pace going the way that they're accustomed to, but playing on a different speed. SMG showing why this Lotus map is something comfortable for them. Here we have it though. Kohabi checking out conversions. He does get the takedown eventually here for the side of SMG, and they do get the advantage with Alexi yet again in the mid line there. Chloe though from up top spots up Camu. Does she get spotted down by Alexi? Yes, she does. The advance yet again from SMG, giving them strong positions to play towards the site with.
Right here. Great trade there by Alexi. They have the Rolling Thunder to secure this if it ever does come to it. This is the bonus, mind you, of SMG. And she finds another kill. Doesn't expect her to still be there towards the help. Goes around on the drop and drops Casper to the ground. 10-5. SMG take their bonus.
This is just Alexi's game, and we are witnessing it. A 4K on the bonus. SMG on an absolute roll. And now with the Rolling Thunder, it's not just strong arming by this point here, Blackenblue. It is just commanding here from SMG. So many times we see this backside of a... If you're not going to be keeping an eye out from the top side, if you're not going to be keeping an eye out on the right side of the rope, someone can hug that wall, hug that angle, and we've seen SMG exploit that towards stairs, towards that area again and again for those A takes.
Yeah, there's a significant amount of pressure being placed upon Orangutan here, especially with just how prominent SMG are in a lot of these rounds in terms of presence, always making Orangutan just so uncomfortable in where to go, where to look, where to divert their forces. SMG, they go for the seaside hit, which is completely open. Griffith wants to chime in though.
Oh!
And she lands a shot. Incredible.
What a shot! What a hit towards Kohabi. But they're gonna need more than that here, Blackenblue, because they're on the lesser by. SMG though, trying to assess where they can go for Shirazi, finding the chips. And here we have it now, Cameo in the front line, but Chloe finds two for her troubles. A chance here, thanks to the flash. Alexi and Shirazi keep things stable. And now the Rolling Thunder to catch out Casper. She moves towards Gravel though, in cover. Do we get the swing? Yes, we do. And SMG will strike out the opposition. 11-5 now.
I think both well used there. Even in the 2v1, especially in the 2v1, if anything. SMG, they're just no holds barred, going in at a moment's pace. Just a completely different beat that Orangutan are used to playing in this case, and just how notable the way that they're playing as. Just so cleanly, it has to be really dictated here by Orangutan, because if SMG continue this, there isn't much cushion left for Orangutan to deal with.
Yeah, and honestly, while we're in this timeout, it has been quite a road for both SMG and Orangutan. Struggles from last year, we mentioned Orangutan that this year, this is the first time in the grand finals. And funny enough, what we see sometimes when you compare them, that there are these similarities in terms of their play style, in terms of how they go for these hard hits. You also see how they built around their new teams. Both sides getting a bit of those additions from that Bren Victor's roster, as well as Zol Meraki. Both sides still having that core from last year to build around on. And both teams have shown that the fruits of their labor have brought them to the very top. But then you look at SMG, then you look at the standard that they're setting, and it's just making waves and going even further than anyone has ever expected in the APAC game changer scene.
Well, it's certainly a new bar raised here for the APAC Game Changers circuit, as Team SMG looking by far the most dominant team we have seen just yet. Only one similar in this entire, past 2-3 years was that old AE squad. But as of the moment, the new queens potentially to be crowned in a few rounds. Team SMG looking to march their way into a new era of Game Changers.
March, you mean sprint, you mean run. Kohabi gets in the face of Casper, but Chloe's there too. Spots out the teleport. Chloe with another one, but Alexi's gonna try and get it done. The wraparound, Alexi versus Chloe. A big standoff, but Japips is there to make the angle work. It's 1v3. And for Orangutan, they need a moment like that. They need some big plays from players like Chloe. Can Shirazi do it one more time against the opposition? Tries to isolate the angle with a Nano Swarm. There's the Aldrone first though for the intel.
Well, notable attempts here. And a noble chance. by Orangutan. Shirazi gets a big pick though.
Can't use that
1v2. They have the lockdown here, Chloe, to buy more time. But obviously they want to save that
Placing
for
swarm grenade.
another round. There's
Swarm
still
grenade
a
out.
huge deficit for them to crawl back
enemy
into.
remaining.
They have to be wary of these 1v1s. It's Shirazi versus Chloe. Killjoy v Killjoy. And she connects just to keep Orangutan alive. A quad for Chloe.
The confidence from Chloe is just outstanding, and she just comes in clutch
My
yet
ult's ready.
again from Orangutan. Clutch Chloe all throughout the day, saving the round for the side of Orangutan when Shirazi was able to isolate these angles. A bit of deja vu from what we saw at the end of Ascent, but Chloe, she's just so strong at making those duels happen, finding the right angle at the right time, finding the opportunity. And that's what Orangutan has done all throughout their run this week. Find those opportunities in the face of adversity. Still a chance to fight back because of it.
Well, SMG, they're the ones with all the praise being sung of so far. Their names could be sealed. But Orangutan, their fate doesn't have to be just yet. They can win more rounds, bring this closer. They have a very real chance of extending this further. And their presence here on the defensive side to push up towards Rubble gives them a bit more of that map control, although it is kind of unsupported. Capricious has a big job to do.
Yeah, she has to come in clutch here with these frags, and there you go. Two
There you
you
go.
asked for, and she shall deliver. Tara and Alexi both go down. The mediums of control here from SMG gone to the wayside. They do go for the Aldron though to get the intel. Pips priming and shooting that operator, and Capricious double dipping this time, caught out by Camu. Perhaps the second wave can do better.
Well, they know the op is here. You can see it bring on out. They pull up those walls, the smokes, to allow them to cross. But when this dissipates, this is going to be dangerous. The Pips does not connect. That was dangerous.
The timing there for Kohaibi. Luckily, she's able to sidestep on away. The Orangutan, you mentioned that timing. You mentioned those moments. They had it with the
30
blades.
seconds left.
They're keeping an eye out towards the site
You should
itself.
run.
Zinni stabilizing. We do get the
Right
lockdown
there.
though, courtesy of the 3 area. And the Orangutan, will they push it? That's the question. It's Camu and Shirazi on the opposite end. Fault line now lob, but the scan is there, and Zinni might get caught here by the detain anyway. Kohaibi's chasing. Kohaibi wants to confirm it, but she checks left first. Now transfers over. It's another one here for Kohaibi, clearing out every single bit of adversity, and it's all left out to Casper in a 1v2 clutch. Camu though on the other end of the site. We have Kohaibi still on the high ground with a single bullet, a single HP rather to
enemy
survive
remains.
with. The bullet though does find her name. It's Casper now versus Camu, and there you go for SMG. She finds her marker and she finds her target. It's match point, it's series point, tournament point
Match
for SMG.
point.
That was such a big risk to run in a 3v4 against a lockdown to stay within that fight. And if that was the attempt there, then it should have been Zinni further back here towards the heavens, stunning towards that tree, and have somebody else within the site. Maybe have Japips, maybe have, you know, someone like Casper if she was within that fight, but it just never came. And because of that, or hell, even Chloe in that case, to be the one to peek out after the fault line or a flash on that push to stop the attempt. But still, SMG, their prowess in those moments and knowing what to do, it gets the match point.
It's not just prowess by this point, it's their form, it's their standard. And SMG, can they do it in one more round? Can they get the victory lap going? Paranoid lob, and that's Capricious already erased. Next might just be Japips here. Chloe though still fights back, catches out the lurk of Shirazi. Casper putting pressure with the frenzy, but the broken buy is hurting Orangutan right now. It's SMG now looking to advance yet again towards staircase. They know that breach is on the other side. Lockdown's there for the stall, sure. Hunter's Fury gonna be the call, and Alexi already with the takedown. It's time to throw it out here for the side of SMG. But still though, Tara on site. Casper will get the kill. Chance here for the side of Orangutan, at least bridging that gap. Cambi on the other end. It's Chloe with the takedown. Chloe and Casper, the clutch queens of Orangutan. They have to fight against Alexi though. The defuse is looking to get stuck. Halfway done, the aftershock into play. Alexi! Oh my goodness! How does she do it yet again? They came, they saw, they conquered, and they perfectly played the whole tournament. It's Team SMG, your champions.
Oh my god! Alexi!
What a game, what a series, what a player, and Team SMG, what a team. Complete dominance all the way through. How many maps is that right now? 21 maybe in a row that they have not dropped throughout multiple series, throughout their entire run in the playoffs. Did not drop a single map in the upper bracket, and that is why they are your game changers. 2023 Split Open 1 champions.
They are just changing the game, changing the field, and changing, I'd say, what it looks to be like a champion. The way that they just won every single series that they had, every single map that they came through was just absolutely outstanding. Honestly, looking at this SMG roster, it's full of all-stars, right? But it's just the way that they have really pushed the limit and shown how far off they are from the competition, how much they have really upped the ante now in the APAC scene. And of course, to talk about everything that went on, we'll be throwing down to our panel. On the casting side, we're going to sign on out. Thank you guys for all the amazing matches so far. Passing it over to Mika and Zahk now.
Okay, who jumped off of her seat at that last second? That was definitely me, because my goodness, I just love how these last rounds, this last, half, just had both of these teams just bring the best out of each other, actually, Zach. And we can't deny that Orangutan are definitely a monster on Lotus. It's just that Team SMG are just the bigger monster here, and that is why they are our champions.
Yeah, I think, we'll talk about Orangutan first. I think that this has been their best tournament so far. They finally made it to a grand final, and I think that they will make it to many more. Individually, they have some things to work on, but overall, as a team, they have a couple of new players coming in. They have to build that synergy. It's going to take some time, but I think that they have what it takes to someday be a champion. But right now, today, it is going to be SMG who are our champions. 21 maps in a row, starting from that Swiss stage. They haven't lost anything, and this finals, I don't think we've ever seen as dominant a final victory coming through. 13-4, 13-5, and 13-6 if I'm not wrong. All three maps, just absolute domination coming out of them. And of course, once again, it is going to be Alexi on that MVP, multiple clutches that we saw coming out of this player. And last year I always thought she was pretty good at aiming. It seems like she's on a whole other level this one.
Yeah.
She's just hitting those headshots. Nasty.
Absolutely. What was her percentage again?
57
it was more than 57. My goodness. Then this is amazing, because you're of course next to a lot of other aim monsters that you have here in this tournament too, right? And Alexi, I don't know what she had for breakfast today, but whatever it is, I wanted to, But you're absolutely right. Orangutan, this is actually just a start for them, because as you mentioned, this is the first open, and there are a lot more months to go before the second. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do to refine all of their strategies, because there were so many good ideas here, and all of these players, they did so well, especially Chloe, who just had a massive performance and just really was just that perfect anchor for the team of Orangutan, right? And it's just that SMG are just for this tournament, they're better prepared, and we come on, we saw Alexi a while ago, right after the match ended and it cut to them. She was just, her finger hearts and everything. She was very chill. She is feeling it.
I swear, when I saw the poster for SMG winning, I was like, oh, these girls look so cute and wholesome and nice. And then I see them on the server and they're just absolutely it's just amazing to see what APAC Valorant has to offer the world. If you do look at this stuff, I think that Fennel had the same kind of reaction when they went to that international Game Changers event X10 as well. But this particular open, I think that since 2021 Alter Ego days, this is the first kind of really sweep that we're seeing over the course of an event. It's just fantastic work coming out of every single player. Even on Alter Ego, we always had that star player to highlight. And Neri was always there kind of picking up that work. And for SMG, until this year, it was Kohabi filling in that same role. But now you have so many individual players just stepping up huge. Alexi this time around a little bit less of a headshot percentage, dropping from 57 to 39. Not too much.
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry, Alexi. that's still massive. I mean, especially since she dropped from 57.
That's the only criticism. That's the only criticism I have.
But the Team SMG here, they're just the well-oiled machine, and you're absolutely right. Massive improvement from Orangutan, finally making it to grand finals for this open. More from them to come, and they'll definitely be one of the teams that we will look out for in Open 2. For now, though, Team SMG, our champions, our VCT game changers, APAC Series Open 1 champions, and there is no denying it. Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, but they did this with a flawless record.
100%. 21 maps in a row.
My God.
Not a single one dropped. I think they took I think today was the first time out that I saw them take. Maybe they took some
That's all.
before, maybe I missed it. But yeah, they've just looked so precise. And I think over the course of the entire day, aside from those bonus rounds, there was only like a couple of rounds, that too in the third map, where there was like an eco coming in. But I hear from production that we do have our winner's interview coming in, and it's none other than our favorite, Alexi, over the course of the day. So let's see what she has to say after this absolutely dominant stomp of a victory, because there's nothing else that we can really call it.
Absolutely. I mean, again, they did this flawlessly. So this roster, we can proudly say, has not dropped a map, a series, just yet. So let's bring on Alexi over to your screens. Alexi, are you there?
Hi! You guys hear me?
Hello! Hi, Alexi!
Hi!
Congratulations, first of all. You guys had such an amazing performance. I mean, like we were just discussing, you guys have not dropped a map just yet. What do you guys have to say about that achievement?
We just expected a run this open, and we are very confident to it.
Well, expectations met, right? I have another
Yeah.
question for you specifically, Alexi. We know that like Tara is the IGL, but you have a massive performance, by the way, in this series. I wanted to ask, because you were a former IGL yourself, is there like a kind of co-tandem, a partnership here with IGLing for the team?
We are 3 IGL before. Oh, not 3, 4. Because Camille is an IGL
All of
before
it.
also. From Seoul. But the important thing is like all of us are communicating too well and we understand each other. So it's a very good thing for us.
Well, that is why Team SMG are doing so well, because these 4 important players definitely know how to communicate everything. That kind of like clears up a lot of questions that I have, Zach.
Oh no, for me too. Like I was gonna ask if Camille also IGL'd, but anyway, congratulations on your win today. I have a couple of questions too. Alexi, on this particular team, coming in from a team like Bren and now joining this new one, what is your favorite part of it so far?
This open. I think my favorite is all of the games, because we don't expect like one team only to be against in grand finals. We expect everyone to be how do you say? We just don't want to be
contender?
complacent every game.
You definitely didn't look complacent. You guys were blazing through like the entire tournament, every single map. All of you look so confident and some really fantastic work done. Now though, you've kind of set the bar. You have the crown. You're the new target that everyone's kind of aiming to shoot down at. Do you have any message that you want to extend to not just people who support you, but also your opponents who are kind of gunning for you right now?
I want to thank first to Team SMG for making us confident, and who are we now? Because if there's no management of Team SMG, we're not here. That's all.
That's wonderful. Alexi, since you mentioned that, Team SMG has been so wonderful, there is a watch party happening as well. Do you want to give a message to all of the fans who have been cheering you on from the comfort of their beanbags?
Thank you for supporting us since day one, guys. And we gonna do more next opens.
I don't
Thank
even
you,
know if
Alexi.
you can do more at this point, but thank you. Thank you so much, Alexi. Have a great day. Enjoy your victory. And we'll see you soon, hopefully again.
Thank you.
Still making an
I'm sorry,
apple,
I'm
Zach.
melting. That's too cute. I don't even know what this is, but
It's an apple. We also do in the Philippines, we do a burger, so it's acceptable too. So
yeah,
just in case
I think we'll leave the cute hearts to the SMB heroes.
I know we can't do it as perfectly as they do, so it's like it's two things. Like they can definitely Valorant better than I can and do the hand signs as well. I
Yeah.
have no hope.
I think it comes with the same thing, like reflexes and I don't know what I'm trying to go for
yeah,
here, but
that's
maybe.
right. Okay, I have more motivation to master these. But yes, our champions, you heard it from themselves. This is not just like a two-headed dragon. Apparently, we're dealing with a hydra here, so it is gonna get even more competitive. I feel for all of these teams here in APAC because my goodness, Team SMG, they have that 4 IGL strategy. No wonder the strategies are so clean and clear because all of the members of the team have such a clear idea of what to do.
Yeah, I think last year when we were heading into LCQ, it was Tara and Kohaibi going for like co-IGL roles. But this time around, it is going to be, like you mentioned, that 4 IGL. I knew that Alexi was IGL. I didn't know that Kamiyu was also there, but just insane stuff coming out of this team. Big brains, big aim. Just fantastic work. But, this bracket, it's testament to what SMG have achieved here. They've swept through every major team. They started off with South Asian newcomers, Global Esports, and all things considered, I think that Global Esports, they had the best kind of performance against SMG over the course of this tournament. They were able to pull off like at least one close map. I think it was like 13-9 or something. But yeah, after that, it was just a stomp. They 2-0'd Sapphire, 2-0'd Kaguya, and now 3-0 Orangutan. Like, they haven't dropped anything. They haven't slowed down.
Yeah, and I don't think that's gonna stop for the rest of the year. I mean, these girls are just getting started, just like all of our other teams here at Game Changers APAC, As we mentioned, it's just the top of the year. Can you imagine what all of these teams are going to look like when we get into Open 2? And I think it's wonderful to see this because it fully encapsulates, why it's so important for VCT Game Changers to keep going because we see these teams evolving now. We see these ladies, coming into their own and really getting empowered. It's like, oh, this is what you build on after, setting up this kind of league at this kind of level for these ladies. It's so exciting, Zach.
Yeah, I think that over the course of this tournament, SMG, they've kind of exemplified what happens when you bring the best of multiple regions together, give them the resources to work with. You could see them in their boot camp. They look so happy to be supported. And this is what players like this, women like this can achieve when given a chance. And it's just so hopeful and it makes me so happy. But I think that hopefully we see more of this coming out of the rest of the teams, more boot camps, more infrastructure. But I think for this Open, at least, that's going to be it from everybody here at VCT Game Changers. It's me, Zach. With me here is the wonderful, the one and only Mikafabs. And we will see you again next time for sure.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
My ultimate is
Got you. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.